Vitality Blast Cricket is back. Just make sure you're ready for blast off.
Brilliant. That's out. That's a good catch as well. Al Davey.
They popped all their fireworks.
Edged. Has it carried? It has. First ball for Miles.
Well, that's a big shout.
In the air and out. Brilliant victory for the Birmingham Bears.
Hello everybody and welcome to Bears Den TV for the 7th game of the Birmingham Bears T20 Vitality Blast campaign 2023. They've won 4, they've lost 2 and they're back at home against the Derbyshire Falcons today, hoping to get that 5th win. My name is Atif Nawaz, I'm your host, and joining me today, I'm very pleased to say, is the club captain for Warwickshire, Will Rhodes. Will, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to see you, mate.
Lovely to have you on the stream. We'll chat a little bit more, but first and foremost, we'll tell you that the Birmingham Bears have won the toss and decided to bat first. Here's our captain, Moeen Ali.
So here pitch side now then with Bears captain Moeen Ali. First of all, Mo, what happened there at the toss?
We won the toss and we're batting.
Fantastic stuff. And I heard that there's a second England T20 World Cup winner that's coming into the squad tonight.
Yeah, Woxie, great to have Woxie in the squad. He's obviously a fantastic bowler and has been for a very long time, and great to have him back here.
What's the rest of the team use for this evening?
And Rob Yates comes in for Jake Lintop.
Fantastic. How important is it to be able to get back to winning ways after what's been quite a tough week, first off?
Yeah, it's very important, obviously. I think when we won 4 on the bounce, obviously, and then we lost 2, so just to get back on our horse and start winning again. Winning is a helmet, and you are going to lose a couple of games here and there, which is fine as long as you're playing well. Yeah.
And speaking of playing well, there's no doubt that Sam Hain, the Hain trainer, has been going out strongly so far this summer. How important is it to have a player like him, and how important is it to keep him in the runs, especially?
I think it's important that he obviously is in the side first, and he's a fantastic player, and I think it's important that everybody scores runs. Most guys chip in here and there, and he had a fantastic knock, and he's having a great year so far.
And finally, obviously, loss on Friday against the Derbyshire. How important is it as well to get them straight back here so you can just make up for that loss, if you like, as well?
Yeah, I mean, we take one game at a time. I think it's just important we win, no matter who we play against, and all the teams are good sides, and we know obviously Derby are a great side, so yeah, we just want to get back on in winning ways.
Well, good luck tonight. Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you, mate. News from here, then, down at the boundary edge. The Birmingham Bears have won the toss, and they'll be batting first.
There we go. The Bears will be batting first very, very shortly. I mean, it's not a surprise, Will, that they opted to bat first after the last match here.
Yeah, absolutely. Use wicket. So I'm sure that's a good game plan. You know, we like defending at home. It's always nice to get the crowd involved in that second innings. So a lot of spin in our team, which is great. And hopefully we can keep them to, you know, low total when we come to bowl.
It must have been slightly disheartening, but also kind of encouraging, that chase in the last game, because 215 is a tough chase at the best of times, but they got very, very close.
They did. They played really, really well. Sam Hain continues to his magnificent form. What a player he is in this format. So he's been amazing. Obviously, Mo, Maxwell and Benji will be looking to get some runs today. 3 amazing players and 3 very talented players. And you know, three players who the circuit really admire, all in their different ways. So hopefully they get their opportunity to bat and bat well. You know, I've tipped Mo and Maxwell to put on a show for us today. So hopefully that comes true.
I mean, some fans will be saying it's about time. We've been waiting for Glenn Maxwell's fireworks, right? We put a lot of, obviously there's been a lot of hype about Glenn Maxwell coming here, a huge global superstar, the big show, you know, just a brilliant player all round. But there's got to be a little bit of pressure building because we still haven't seen that that kind of signature Maxwell innings yet.
Yeah, I think that's the way he plays, though. He takes the game on. He's not afraid to go from ball one, and I think that's why he's so exciting around the world in all these franchise competitions. So, I don't think he's going to change the way he plays. There's no boundaries in the country that are big enough for him. So, if he can get in today, and obviously we've played Derbyshire last week, so he'll know the bowling as well. He'll have had a good look there and seen what they're about. It's a good pitch here. Like I say, when it's used and it's second time, it can sometimes play even better than the first game. So if he gets himself in, then hopefully there's going to be some good fireworks tonight.
They absolutely are. And, there's been some changes to the team as well. So I'm going to tell everybody exactly what the team is for the Birmingham Bears. It's a very exciting lineup. There's 2 changes. Jake Lintott and Ed Barnard will sit out. But Yates is back in the side. Very, very exciting player at the top of the order. And he's got his opportunity after having to wait for a few games. Alongside him will be Alex Davies, who's been terrific as well. Couldn't quite get away as much as he wanted in the previous game. Got 19 off 10, but was very, very impressive. Glenn Maxwell we expect to see at number 3. Now, we've talked about him. There's a lot of expectation. There hasn't been the result yet. Is today the day he's going to light it up at Edgbaston? Sam Hain is next in line, and he's definitely a player who's been lighting it up multiple times, as you say. Just 3 shy of a century at Edgbaston in the previous game against Nottinghamshire. Moeen Ali, the captain, carded to come in at a bit lower down the order. That might change, to be fair. There'll be a lot of chat about him, but I'm sure he'll be firmly focused on the task at hand today. Dan Mosley, one of our favourites here on Bears Den TV. Dan Mosley, we keep getting access to him, keep seeing him after every game, keeps putting in terrific performances, and we love to see it. Chris Benjamin will come in after that as well. He'll be looking to get a big one as well away. He shared a few good partnerships with Dan Mosley this season as well. And here's a big name, Chris Wokes, back into the team for Warwickshire, for the Birmingham Bears. What can you say about Chris Wokes? Just a world-class player. And just a terrific boon to the side this week as well as he rejoins the Bears. And then Henry Brooks, who bowled a gorgeous delivery to get rid of Alex Hills in that game against Nottinghamshire. It was just a beautiful ball, just nipped in and took the top of the stumps. He'll be in the 11 at number 9. Danny Briggs in at number 10, part of that spin quartet today. Will carry up hold that flag up for the team with Lintott sitting out this game. And closing out the lineup will be Craig Miles, the fast bowler as well. So a very, very strong 11 for the Birmingham Bears, complete with some superstars returning. I mean, you got Chris Wokes, Moeen Ali, Glenn Maxwell. I mean, that's a serious team as well today, Will.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? You look through that lineup and how many international caps are in that 11. It's fantastic. There's probably all of them can win a game from any position, and that's what's so exciting about T20 cricket, and especially cricket here at Edgbaston. Is that's what we want. I think that's what Mo wants at the start of the competition. He wanted match winners in his team, and he's certainly got that. Chris Benjamin there to come in at number 7. What a player he is. All the shots that he's got, and we've seen that in the 100 and in the blast over the last couple of years. And then obviously Chris Wokes as well. It's always a treat having him back. He's such a great man to have around. Very level-headed, but wants to win every game for the Birmingham Bears or Warwickshire, whoever he plays for. So great to have him back before he goes into the Ashes squad, and hopefully he can pick up a few wickets in that second innings.
Absolutely, a good time for him, as you say, to jump in as well. Potentially in action twice this week for the Bears. Let's talk a little bit about Sam Hain. I mean, he's been extraordinary. It feels like, there was always a lot of hype about him. There was always this expectation. He's clearly a very talented player, but it feels like he's gone up a level this season. Do you think that's fair to say? I
think so, yeah. I think he wanted to really, not improve his stats as such, but he wanted to make his mark on his innings a lot earlier than probably what he has done when he was coming through. His stats over the last couple of years have actually been frightening in T20 cricket. The way he finishes off games, the way he finishes off innings are so impressive, and such a key cog in our lineup, I guess. He was fantastic when I captained him, and he's almost gone from a gear, another gear now. And look, he's one of the best players in the country, not just at white ball but at red ball as well. So to have him in our side is a treat. Obviously, there's a big push for him to England, and there's no one. Or no other players in the country that want it more than the Warwickshire boys. We want to keep pushing him, keep raising his level, and that's what he's doing. He's pressing all of us in training, whatever format it is. So fair play to him. He's took it on. He's worked hard at his game, worked hard at his fitness, and everything around the game. So hopefully he can come up with the goods today.
Yeah, I hope so. That was incredible. I can't tell you what it was like watching him play against Nottinghamshire, it looked like they were going to pull off the most incredible win, especially at the very end when Lintott hit that six. When Lintott hit that six, I thought, okay, here we go. They're going to do it 3 in a row. But then it wasn't to be. They'll be hoping to fix that against Derby today. Now, one of the things that always confuses me about cricket stadiums, I've got to tell you, Will, is the strips, like the multiple strips and the multiple pitches and the thought that goes into them. So we've got some thoughts from Gary Barwell, the head of turf management here at Edgbaston, in association with Allet Mowers.
The square's got 24 pitches on it. All pitches are treated exactly the same. And then what happens, the fixtures come out, hopefully around the November, December time. We sort of have a draft copy to look at. And that's where we decide where pitch selection is going to be. We'll always speak to head coach, director of cricket. But there's a lot of people involved. Generally, it's me and Cookie sit down first and sit and do our first draft copy. Mostly players, coaches and that are all pretty happy. The 3 pitches in the middle are exactly the same as any of the pitches on the square other than the hybrid ones. But the middle 3 are more commercially driven. So obviously we've got an Ashes test this year. We want as many people to come into the stadium as watch it as possible. So sight screen, where the sight screen goes is important. But then also we sort of work it out that if we've got a test match and then a couple of weeks later we've got another international, we have to miss a pitch to be the next one. 2020 and 100, again, bigger boundaries. Again, commercially driven. If we're on TV, we have to be on TV pitches. They're all allotted. The other one is the Championship. The Championship is still on very good pitches, but they're not on TV. They're only streamed in-house, so they're not as strategically placed.
Fascinating. Something about those surfaces that I'll just never get bored of learning about. Hybrid pitches, little plastic. Are you a fan of hybrid pitches?
Don't mind them, yeah. Obviously, we don't use them in red ball cricket, but in the white ball stuff, they're usually fantastic. Obviously, Gary's had them here for 3 or 4 years now, and they're great to play on. Obviously, improve the pace of the wicket, pace and bounce, and it brings the seamers into it. The more you go and the older they get, they can start to spin as well. So it brings everyone in. But I think there's still quite a new process, and I think they're here to stay. To be honest, they're such a great concept. It's almost like those 3G, 4G pitches in football, isn't it? Which teams are starting to play with now. So I think you'll see a lot more of them in the coming years.
Well, you might get a chance to play on one soon enough. I mean, if you keep your form up the way it is at the moment, Will, 100 at Newport for the second 11 the other day, 144 balls. That must have felt special.
Yeah, it's nice. I think it's my first one in T20 cricket, albeit in the second team. It's always nice to go play there. It's nice to put a little bit of pressure on Robbo, Devo and Mo, who are picking the team. So, it's always nice to knock on the door. I'm not quite done yet at T20 cricket. I like to think I've still got a good enough game for it. But yeah, look, we've got an unbelievable squad at the minute, and the talent that's around, even the young guys coming through, Rob Yates, who's back in the team after his 70 at Northants. So, to kick these guys out, someone big has got to miss out for me to come in. So, I'll just keep doing a bit of commentary and see how we go, get back in the nets, and hopefully we'll get my chance later in the comp.
Yeah, you've got plenty of cricket coming up this season. I'm absolutely certain of it, Will. Now, let's, in terms of this game as well, put your captain's hat on for me as well. What kind of total would they like to get today, batting first, the Bears?
I think the big mark that that the boys have kept, I guess banging on about is that 200 mark. Edgbaston, I think it's the par score is sort of raising every year. It's gone from sort of 160 when I first joined the club a few years ago. Now it's at 185, 190, and the guys want to go above and beyond to get that 200. I think it was 7 times last year. It's already been 2 or 3 times in 6 games this year. So they'll be looking at that 200 mark. It might be different. It might be a 175, 180 pitch, but I think they'll be looking to go 200, but I'm sure they'll be communicating between the 12th men to get that sort of message across. Obviously Devo and Yatesy up top, and then that engine room of him, Maxwell and Moeen, that's as exciting as it gets, isn't it? So I'm sure they're experienced enough and they'll know what they want, but I think if they can get to up near 200, that'll be very competitive.
And a win is crucial, isn't it? Because there's 5 teams in the North Group that are on 8 points at the moment. But we have played 1 game fewer than 3 of those teams. So I know that's a lot of information, guys. Apologies. But just to separate yourself from the pack, a win here would be so helpful in terms of qualifying for those quarters. Yeah,
it's massive. I think you need to get to sort of 15, 16 points to qualify, or to have a really good chance of qualifying. So a win today takes us to 10 and takes us to within sort of 3 or 4 wins of qualifying. So these 2 games are massive. Obviously Derby at home tonight and Northants at home, who we've beaten. We've beaten Northampton at their spot this year. So the 2 games that the guys are looking forward to. You know, the T20 guys get a break after this week for a few days before I think it's a big derby next week. So you know, all eyes on that. But yeah, these 2 games, if we can get 4 points here, takes us to 12 points. And it'll put us in the top 2, firmly in the top 2. So excited for tonight, excited to see how the boys play. It's my first game here at the stadium. I've been watching the stream, so I've been dragged in to watch them live. So I'm looking forward to having a show being put on.
Wait, we're losing a stream viewer because you're here. Now you got to get it on your phone.
Absolutely.
You got to get it on your phone. No, I'm so thrilled you're here with us, and we're going to chat throughout the game as well. And yeah, absolutely, as you say, taking those 4 extra points would put us in a very, very strong position. A quick word on the crowds as well. They've been really, really big so far. Like some excellent turnouts. It's Wednesday today, so you know, maybe not as big with the schools back, but I mean, the way they're playing at the moment, they deserve the big crowds.
They do, and look, like I said before, the names in the team excite people. That's what brings people through the door and want to spend the money to come and watch. You know, it's an endless list of match winners, endless list of internationals as well. So I'm sure the crowd will be big. And like I said, when you bat first here at Edgbaston, they do get quite raucous and very noisy in the second innings. So I'm looking forward to hearing them in full flow. But the boys have got to put on a show first innings. There's no point getting bundled out for a low score and then not having the crowd on you know, with us, I guess, in that second innings. So you know, like I said, 180 to 200. If we can get that, then I'm sure the crowd will play their part.
I need an exact score prediction, exact number.
I'm going 204 tonight.
Okay, I'm going to go 205. No, I won't go 205. I'm feeling ambitious, actually. I'm going to say 215.
Okay.
The same score they conceded, I feel like they're going to do that. 204, 215. What's your prediction? Put it in the comments and let's see if it works out. For now, the players are on their way out to the middle. So the action will resume very, very shortly. But stay with us here on Bears Den TV. Very soon, you're going to hear the sounds of Chris Coles guiding you through commentary.
And a very good evening to you. Edgbaston looking resplendent in the late afternoon, early evening sunshine, and we are very much looking forward to what should be a really entertaining T20 blast encounter. Birmingham Bears against the Derbyshire Falcons. The Bears looking for a little bit of revenge after defeats at the county ground to the Falcons, also looking to avenge the defeat here to Notts Outlaws. Birmingham have been in decent T20 form against the Derbyshire side that haven't. 2 wins and 4 defeats from their 6 matches. Not must-win territory for the Falcons, but they really need a win to reignite their charge to the quarter-finals. Team news, couple of changes for the Bears. Chris Wokes is back in the team, and so too is Rob Yates, Ed Barnard and Jake Lintott, the 2 to drop out. Derbyshire Falcons unchanged from a defeat to Yorkshire on Sunday. Alongside me, former Bear, Ryan Sidebottom, and also providing us with killer statistics, Aaron Viles. A very good evening to you both. Ryan, it's one of those occasions, Edgbaston, sun shining, home side, batting first, great players on display. It's a game to really look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. The sun's definitely shining, and you know, these days the exciting ones that you want to be a part of. The ground looks amazing, and definitely as a player, they're the ones you want to be a part of for sure.
And for the Bears, important to bounce back following 2 defeats to East Midlands rivals. The game here against Notts, they played well. Sam Hain 97 not out. We know in T20 that the fine margins can be the difference, and we saw that against Notts. Important to end this losing streak.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, if you had said at the start of the campaign that we would win, we'd be 4-2, and I think, you know, most people would take that. But to get back into winning ways is very, very important, and to keep momentum going. You know, T20 is such a fickle game at times, and winning form's probably your best form.
Here come the 2 umpires. Derbyshire Falcons taking to the field. This is a rare feeling for the Falcons. Their 7th T20 match, and the first time in the competition that they will be fielding first. A remarkable record thus far, in that they've batted first for the 6 matches they've played. Lewis Deploy, the captain of the Falcons, losing the toss now 6 times out of 7, which is not a brilliant record as skipper. And here come the Bears. Rob Yates back in the side, and Alex Davis, his fellow opener. And Rob Yates, Aaron, back in the side. 2 decent games he enjoyed against Leicestershire and Northants, and he'll be pleased to have his spot back at the top of the order.
He certainly will. He will, Chris, because that 71, in particular the game against Leicestershire, I thought that was a fantastic game they had, and then the 71 that I mentioned against Northants. He was in really good form, wasn't he, Rob Yates? And then a lot of people, myself included, thought he was very hard done by. He got dropped with the return of Moeen Ali from the IPL with his stint with the Chennai Super Kings. So it's great to see Rob back. Still provides that left hand, right hand, so you look at the matchups in T20 cricket, and yeah, that is in the favour of the Bears tonight. And yeah, good to see a local lad from Moseley, attended Warwick School, back opening the bats for the Birmingham Bears. So there we go.
Here we go then. Alex Davis will be taking strike. Neil Mallender and Tom Lungley, the 2 umpires, by the way. Tom Lungley, formerly of Derbyshire, and Mark Watt will be opening the bowling for the Falcons. Just got to be wary of his little 24-yarders that he likes to bowl off no run-up. He darts them in every now and then. From the pavilion end, decent crowd in under the sunshine. The Bears looking to bounce back from those 2 defeats. Here we go. Mark Watt with Alex Davis on strike. And off the mark straight away. Back and across through extra cover, and that, as starts go, not quite the perfect start, but pretty close.
Yeah, it doesn't come much better than that, really, does it? To get off the mark with the boundary is a very, very good start, and I'm sure Alex's nerves will be just a little bit more settled.
Just the sort of start you want as an opening batter, to get one that's a little bit loose from Mark Watt, rock back, smash it through the covers, and the Bears are away. More runs here, guided through square leg. 5 without loss, and Rob Yates on strike. And after that excellent knock against Northants. As players, Ryan, you want to keep that momentum going, I suppose. You want that form, you want that rhythm, and sometimes when you take a break, it's difficult to get that back.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, disappointing for Rob to miss out, but they're problems you have when you're quite strong. And Mark Watt's just come into bowl and just bowled into leg stump, and Rob's just patted it back to Mark there. So, but yeah, good problems to have when you've got a strong team.
Around the wicket to the, or over the wicket left hand rather, Mark Watt to the left-handed Yates, who is off the mark with a punch through mid-wicket. And the Bears move on to 6 without loss inside the first over. Where do you think we'll see Mo then? Open the batting against Notts, but not this time?
No, not this time. Potentially at 3 maybe. You know, well, it all depends on where the informed Sam Hain wants to bat, really, doesn't it?
Very much a meeting of 2 informed batters tonight. Sam Hain for the Bears and Wayne Madsen for the Falcons. Mark Watt to end the first over that has gone for 7 so far. Edgy and just short of that short third man position that was loose, and very nearly George Scrimshaw in the game in that position. He's a very tall man, Scrimshaw, had a long way to go. No harm done in the end, and after the first over, the Bears have made a more than useful start, 8 without loss. Batting first, Aaron, we mentioned it for the first over. The Bears have enjoyed batting first so far in this competition. 2 times they've done it against Northants and Yorkshire. They've hit 200 plus, and you hit 200 plus in any T20 game, you fancy your chances of winning?
Yeah, you certainly do, and I think as a unit the Bears are much stronger when that is the case. I don't think they're a massively strong chasing side. I thought we saw that against Notts here on Saturday, but I like the Bears' chances of putting up a big total tonight. The pitch looks like an absolute belter.
Zaman Khan in for his first delivery. That might be wide, and is. Fine margins in T20. And from our vantage point, that looked fairly straight, but Ryan, and you'll know full well in your position that there's no margin for error, is there?
No, there's not. There's not. Sometimes you like to have a little bit of leniency as a bowler, but unfortunately you don't get any. So
in again, and Davis will help himself to a single. He is Lasith Malinga, isn't he, essentially, Zaman Khan? His action is very slingy, very Malinga-like, but he has serious pace, and both Rob Yates and Alex Davis will know about it. He settled in nicely to this Falcons side, one of 2 Pakistan internationals in the Falcons side. But we know with pace, Ryan, and especially with this Edgbaston outfield being lightning quick, you don't need too much on it to send it to the ropes.
No, you don't. Sometimes pace can be your worst nightmare. You know, Gary Barwell here does a fantastic job, and the hybrid pitches seem to either, you know, the ball goes flying everywhere. So hopefully tonight that continues for the Bears.
Circumspect start for Alex Davis against Zaman Khan, which isn't too much of a surprise, especially in the power play. Ryan, when you've got the slow bowler and you've got the dangerous quick, if you can take, as the Bears did, 8 off the first over, then it gives you license maybe just to get your eye in against the quick. Yeah, definitely. I think definitely with a bowler like Zaman, you got to try and find your rhythm to him, and you know, T20 crickets, yes, it's all fast paced, but you know, you've got more time than what you think out there. So you know, Alex is obviously giving himself a little bit of time here and trying to get his rhythms right. And Aaron, you were telling us about he's had a remarkable journey, hasn't he, Zaman Khan, through quite turbulent childhood to reach this point. I'm sure you can tell us about it maybe at the end of the over. Zaman in once again, Birmingham end, thought about a single. Davis there to the short mid-wicket fielder, but no run there, 10 without loss.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, to be honest, Chris. Yeah, Zaman does come from humble beginnings, actually. So he's from Chakswari in Mirpur, that's in Pakistan, and yeah, at one point this made the rounds in the Pakistani media. Him and his family were living in basically a very, very basic house. So the foundations were mud, he had a wooden roof, and when he was selected by the Lahore Qalandars...
Swing and a miss. Alex Davis, short, wide, thought about it, or did more than thought about it, went for it, but no harm done.
Great delivery, and this is why he was selected by the Lahore Qalandars. But the management saw that, and they invested money into that district, and they rebuilt housing, him and his family, proper housing now. And this is the power of this game. This is why we love cricket, isn't it? For stories like that, and obviously we look at franchise cricket, the monopolisation of the game. It does have its drawbacks, but from an individual perspective,
he's a very good player. Davis driving and will get runs here. Slight midfield in the circle, Wayne Madsen. And it'll be a couple and a little slip on the boundary rope as well, which always goes down well, especially in front of the Hollies. And it brings to an end the second over with the Bears 12 without loss. So 8 off the first over, bowled by Mark Watt, 4 off Zaman Khan's first over. And I think you'd probably take that if you were, from a bowling perspective, certainly opening up against 2 batsmen that do like to play their shots. Mark Watt's spell lasted just 1 over, and Zach Chappell is going to bowl from the pavilion end. Player who has found a home back at Derbyshire, has been around a bit, loan spells at Gloucestershire, signed from Notts, but he is the Falcons leading wicket taker so far in this competition, and he'll be bowling at Rob Yates with the shadows lengthening in the glorious sunshine. The drive, which is slightly edgy, but will get Yates 4. And if you're going to flash, Ryan, you flash hard, because that's what happens.
Yes, absolutely. The harder you go, sometimes it works out the best. You know, especially when they're pitched up like that. Rob's done fairly well there to get enough on it to get it down to the third man boundary for 4.
Full and wide. There is that fielder in he's at short third, just on the edge of the circle, moving into the circle now. That's a much better shot. It's the same result, but beautifully guided through point. That was a wonderful piece of timing, sounded beautiful off the bat, and it's back-to-back boundaries for Rob Yates.
Lovely piece of timing that, wasn't it, from Rob? Didn't try and overhit it, just leant on it nicely and got it just in front of point for 4 there. Yeah, beautiful shot.
And now the pressure right on Zach Chappell. Derbyshire have kept it relatively tight so far, but back-to-back boundaries. What does he do next? In the power play, so 2 men outside the circle are at deep square leg and at deep point at the moment. More runs, could be another 4. This will be 3 fours in a row. Beautifully flicked round the corner towards fine leg. It's another excellent piece of timing. More about the guidance there than the timing. But Rob Yates, 12 from Zach Chappell's first 3. 24 without loss, the Bears. And Ryan, an array of shots. We've seen the flash drive, the controlled drive through point, and now the little flick off the legs.
Yeah, it's been nice. It's T20 cricket now. You've got to be able to play 360, and Rob's one of those that can play all around.
Around the wicket now, Chappell driving is Yates. This will be a dot. Another good looking shot, but a good piece of fielding. That extra cover by Wayne Madsen, and that's a dot which will come of great relief to Derbyshire and for Zach Chappell, who had gone for 3 boundaries from his first 3 balls. Rob Yates back in the Bears side tonight, has settled in very nicely. 15 from his 8 deliveries so far, and he waits again, gives himself room and doesn't make any contact. I think he was expecting that to be slightly fuller than it was, and perhaps Chappell saw what he was up to and just shortened his length ever so slightly.
I think a little bit of change of pace there from Zach as well. From here it looked like a little bit of an off cutter. But definitely Rob gave himself a bit of room, that's for sure.
It's an enticing shot, isn't it, towards the Hollies. Looks a shortish boundary. Chappell in again, and driving fluently is Yates, and this will pick up possibly not the boundary because it just caught up a couple of yards in from the rope. That's a very good piece of fielding, but it will be 3 to the total anyway. Had he hit that a bit flatter, that may well have gone over the ropes, but just caught up in the surface. Still an excellent over for the Bears, and it's 27 without loss. Fourth over of the Bears innings, having won the toss, Moeen Ali, and elected to bat first, and Zaman Khan continuing from the Birmingham end. Rob Yates on strike, pulling down towards third man. It'll only be the 1. Another good looking shot to bring Alex Davis on strike, who's been a bit of a spectator in this opening 4 and a bit overs. I say that he's faced 8 balls, but I think because we've seen the more dramatic shots from Rob Yates, it's felt like Alex Davis hasn't had a great deal to do so far.
Yeah, I think it works like that sometimes. Sometimes as an opening pair, one will go a little bit harder than the other. So I think Alex is just taking that passenger role here, as he's just tried to reverse scoop one, but it's gone through to the keeper. So as we always do, we put the curse on it, and
yeah, absolutely.
He's luckily he didn't lose his wicket, but just at the moment it looks like he's taken a bit more of a passenger role to Rob, and Rob's playing a few more shots. So
if we were worried about the commentator's curse, we wouldn't say anything. No one would say anything. But the first ramp of the evening, it's a much more conventional shot that'll bring 1 to Davis and 1 more to the Bears total, 29 without loss. With Zaman's pace, it's a shot that you expect to see quite a lot, because you don't need to get much on it given Zaman's pace to get it over Brooke Guest's head, the wicketkeeper, and you've got 4 and 6 both in play if you get it right.
Well, absolutely. When third man and fine leg are both up in the circle as well, it's quite enticing. So fair play.
Another drive through point, but the fielder is at deep point outside the circle, so that's an easy one for Rob Yates, who moves to 20 from his 12, 30 without loss. I'm sure you've got a niche Rob Yates stat, Alex, Aaron, on considering Wednesday. Did you mention that there's a niche Wednesday stat?
There is indeed, Chris, yes. So this will be great news for the Bears fans tuning in tonight. Rob Yates in T20 cricket averages 38.5 on a Wednesday, so there you go, folks.
Another good pull shot that is straight to the man on the boundary. And it's another single, moves the score to 31 without loss. That's the kind of stats we like, isn't it? That's that niche cricket stat. Only cricket can do that sort of thing.
It's incredible, isn't it? And fair play. I'm not sure how you found it, but credit where credit's due.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Keeps him busy, keeps him out of trouble. First strains of Bears for the first time this evening. Oh, that's going to be an easy, no ball, in fact. I was going to say it was a fairly straightforward wide decision, but it's been no balled.
Overhead height is a no ball. So yeah, from here it looked like it was comfortably over Rob's head there. So
yeah, it certainly was. I think there was any chance of him laying bat on that. 33 for no wicket the score moves to. This has been a good Bears start in the power play. And there'll be another one guided through that vacant area, backward point. There's always a run there. Decent rotation of the strike from both. 4 overs completed. And if you are lucky enough to be in the Carling best seats in the house, there they are. Looking a bit cold there, I have to say. They're not in the sun, which is a little bit unfortunate. They're in a bit of shade, but still excellent seats, right on the square leg or point boundary, enjoying themselves. And if you'd like to experience Carling best seats in the house at the next Bears game here at Edgbaston, couldn't be easier. Follow us on Twitter at Warwickshire CCC. I bet they wish they were on the other side, though, because they'd be in full sun then. They might not be able to see anything, but they get a good tan.
Yeah, it does look a little bit fresh down there at the minute, doesn't it?
Now then, Scrimshaw into the attack, and this is skied by Yates. This could be the end of him, and it is taken. And there is the first Bears wicket to go. George Scrimshaw into the attack from the pavilion end, and Rob Yates' cameo comes to an end. An entertaining 21 from 14. But the Bears lose their first wicket. 34 for 1, George Scrimshaw strikes first ball.
Lovely change of bowling there, wasn't it, really? I think it looked, from my vantage point anyway, it looked like a little bit of a change of pace. Didn't look like a full pace on delivery from George. And Rob's just turned the face on it and top edged up to short extra cover there.
Yep, and it was a fairly straightforward catch in the end. It went high, but there was plenty of time to set. And it brings Moeen Ali to the crease. What a few days Mo has had. He'll be back here. Presumably he'll be playing. He's in the squad for the England test, the first Ashes test. The unfortunate injury to Jack Leach. And Moeen Ali got the call from Ben Stokes and says, yep, I'll come and help you out. But for now he's got a job to do. He's in at 3, the Bears skipper. But you wonder, with news like that, Ryan, he'll be full of the joys of spring, won't he? He'll have an extra spring in his step because he knows that he'll be back here.
Absolutely, what a fantastic call to get. And it's not really a call you can turn down either, can you?
Facing Scrimshaw, wicket with his first ball. Driving is Moeen, and that's a very good stop at point, because that was travelling to the boundary. Zach Chappell doing the fielding, and Moeen is away straight away. In at 3, we did wonder where he would come in, and it seems a sensible position for him to be in. They've got off the Bears to a pretty decent start.
Yeah, pretty decent start, and it also keeps the left and right hand combination going as well. Who knows if Alex had been the first wicket whether he would have come in at 3 or not, but yeah, that left to right hand combination just keeps the bowler guessing a little bit more, and being a bowler myself, it makes things a little bit difficult.
Scrimshaw over the wicket, Davis waiting, pushing into the offside for 1. Fielding done by Lewis Rees. 36 for 1. He is wearing, Moeen, one of the brightest pairs of spikes I think I've ever seen. That sort of garishly lurid orange,
fluorescent orange, yeah, they are quite bright, aren't they?
And because of
we won't miss him when the lights come on, for sure.
No. I'm not sure it quite goes with the yellow of the Bears and the blue, but anyway.
I'm not sure it goes with anything, to be honest, but that's a beautiful shot.
Like that, who cares what he wears? Glorious cover drive. Pierces the circle, thumps into the Hollies boundary, and Moeen hasn't taken long to get his eye in. 40 for 1. Lovely shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Lovely shot through the covers there. Just a pure swing of the bat from Mo, and absolutely timed the pants off it. He looks in good order here.
Yeah. You can get your timing nice and early. Doesn't half set you up well. Good recovery, Scrimshaw. Lewis Rees, the direct hit, Mo may have been in a slight bit of bother. I think he was okay. The bump and run, good running from both. It's important with that sort of run that both set off straight away. Any hesitation and there's trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% right there. Any hesitation that gives that fielder there at short mid wicket a little bit more of a sniff and brings them in the game. But luckily they both set off and got home safely.
Davies back on strike, 10 from his 12. Slower from Scrimshaw, and this is turned to deep backward square for a single. You wonder if Alex Davies has decided that he's to play the anchor of this innings. He's got the more explosive hitters in and around him. He can be the one that is there come 20 overs.
Yeah, definitely. I think, looking at the order, you've got Sam Hain and Glenn Maxwell, and then you look at Dan Malsey to come after that as well. You've got some really, really big hitters. So whether it's been identified before the game or not sure, but Alex seems to be playing that anchor role and doing it quite well at the moment, just turning the strike and making it more difficult for the bowlers to bowl to that left and right hand combination.
Crowd enjoying themselves on this beautiful Birmingham evening. Cloudy start. Wondered if it would disappear, and it did. The sun now shining brightly. Chappell has changed ends. He's coming in from the Birmingham end. Moeen, where are you going? Hand up in, well, I think an apology maybe, because I'm not sure Alex Davies was setting off anywhere soon. But he had the presence of mind, Moeen, to scamper back and return to the non-striker's end. No harm done.
No harm done, yeah. Change of end for Zach Chappell here. So it'll be interesting to see how he comes. Comes from the City end.
First over went for 15. It was expensive. And this is just over the head of mid-on, who was fractionally inside the circle. And for a moment, Alex Davies' heart would have been in his mouth, because mid-on was in the game, but it was just over his head. It's 4 more to the total, 46 for 1.
Yeah, a little bit of slice of luck there for Alex, but you're definitely right. His heart would have been in his mouth for a little while there.
Didn't quite get all of it, did he? But in the end, enough to beat the man at mid-on, who is just inside the circle. Final over of the power play. Chappell again, and Davies goes big again. He's going to get away with this too. Didn't time that one either, but it still will be 1 more to the total. And when you lucks in, and it's that sort of thing that if you're a batter, you think, okay, maybe it is my evening after all.
It's a batter's game, really, isn't it? Let's be honest.
says the bowler, yeah.
It seems like it anyway, but in my experiences, that's the case for sure.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. It is absolutely a batter's game. I'm not sure who'd want to be a bowler in T20 cricket. An all-round is the best position to be anyway in T20. If your bowling doesn't quite work out, you can smash a few and all is forgotten.
Wow, absolutely. You get to do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Special breed, us fast bowlers.
Moeen taking strike for the first time to Chappell. Oh, now is there a feather on that? Brooke Guest thinks so. Zach Chappell thinks so. Umpire doesn't. And instead just singles to his mate to ask how many balls to come. Well, Moeen was unmoved. Were Derbyshire convinced? I've seen more vociferous appeals.
Yeah, it was almost a celebration, like it was a given, wasn't it? That it did definitely look close, but from Moeen's reaction, he didn't move, and the umpire kept his hand down.
Difficult to tell. It did look daylight between bat and ball. It moved quite considerably after it left the batter. Moeen in nicely straight behind that one, and it's a dot to mid-on. Neil Mallender, the umpire at the far end from us, from the Birmingham end. completely unmoved, wasn't he? In fact, I did like that. Dismissed it that much out of hand. He decided the best thing to do was to ask Tom Lungley how many balls to come. Moen is pulling unsuccessfully and is wided with nothing on that. And that is where it's absolutely not a bowler's game, because, as mentioned, you really do not have to stray far wide to be wided.
No, they are very fine margins, and well, there are no margins when they're down the leg side. Yes, it's tough, but unfortunately he's got to run in and do it again.
For the final time in the power play, 48 for 1. And it'll remain 48 for 1 after 6 overs. So the first power play completed. And at 48 for 1, Ryan, it's one of those scores that you could probably argue both ways. Derbyshire will be pleased that score is not 50 plus, 60 plus. And the Bears will be pleased that they're only 1 wicket down.
Yeah, I think there's definitely both sides that wouldn't be too unimpressed at this stage. Obviously Derbyshire would like another wicket or two, and Warwickshire would like another few runs on the board. But the game's evenly poised here. Warwickshire have the Birmingham Bears have set themselves a nice little platform here, and it'll be interesting to see how they go for the remainder of 14 overs.
As far as power plays go, Aaron, this feels quite par for the Bears. Most of their power plays seem to be this sort of thing.
Yeah, they do, Chris, and the good thing for the Bears this time round compared to the game against Nottinghamshire, you look at the wickets lost. In that game we lost 3 wickets. In this one only 1. You look at the hitters still remaining in that batting lineup. It's a far better platform for the Bears to build off of in this particular game.
Mark Watt is back for his second over. He opened up for Derbyshire. First over went for 7. And he's back now bowling at Moen, a runnable 6 for the Bears skipper. And he'll help himself to one more punch down the ground. Long on Lias Deploy, the skipper for Derbyshire, does the fielding, and the 50 is up for the Bears. For the loss of 1 wicket, Rob Yates the man to fall. Entertaining 21 that included 3 fours, caught by Wayne Madsen. There is the 24-yard delivery from Mark Watts. I think that's the first one of the day. Every now and then he just throws it in, tries to catch the batter unawares. Fortunately, Alex Davis was more than aware of that one.
I think Alex looks a little bit disappointed in himself that he didn't quite get a little bit more on it.
There'll be another single for Moeen, cutting to deep point, 52 for 1. I'm sure he must have taken wickets using it. I've never seen him do it though. Granted, I've not seen every ball he's bowled from 24 yards.
No, I haven't. No, that's the first time I've ever seen him do it myself as well. And there must be some method in the madness, but it's an interesting tactic.
Scotland international Mark Watt, he played over 100 times for his country. Out of the power play now, so Derbyshire don't have to be as meticulous with their fielding positions when it comes to outside of the circle. Watt is in again, back on Moeen's pads. I think the thought was 2. Alex Davis certainly thought about 2, and the way he set off, he ran the first hard, but no real chance of 2, and it's the end of Mark Watt's second over. It's the end of the 7th. It's 54 for 1. Ryan, I think we're saying goodbye for you for now, but we'll look forward to your company again later on in the innings.
Yes, we'll see you soon.
And Will Rhodes, the Warwickshire skipper, will be coming in. Aaron, tell us about Moeen then. I know he's had to wait for his return to the Bears because of his involvement with the Chennai Super Kings, the victorious Chennai Super Kings in the IPL. But he'll be pleased to be back with the Bears and keen to make an impression, knowing that he's off again.
He certainly will, and to be honest, Chris, when you look at his record against Derbyshire, it's pretty good. 197 runs, average of 32.83, and that strike rate, 147.
Very nice. Thank you very much. Matty McKiernan into the attack for the first time, and into our attack, Will Rhodes. Will?
How it going? Yeah, it's great to be here, isn't it?
It's good.
Lovely view.
It's a great view. It's one of the first things you said when you arrived, and I was surprised that you hadn't seen it before.
It is. I'm not usually allowed up here. The media team don't let me up here too much. Like to be out there playing, but all good being here with you guys.
Yep, it's a pleasure to have you. Down the wicket comes Alex Davis, straight down the ground, 1 bounce 4. Hit that really well. and he had to hit it well because there are fielders at long on and long off, but he hit that beautifully straight, timed it well. The Bears to 59 for 1, and he's looking in good form.
He is looking in great touch. He's played well all year, both red and white ball. I think McKiernan could get targeted here, more to the short side, and obviously Al's ran at him there pretty early in the over, so I think they might be targeting McKiernan. I think he's a fifth bowler.
Another quick single, well judged and well run. Another one set off straight away. Yeah, it's been, from a Derbyshire perspective, a couple of expensive overs in there. Zach Chappell's first going for 15, but then he recovered well. Mark Watt's gone for 13 from his 2. There's no disastrous figures there, so yeah, fifth bowler, the spinner. Maybe this is the time for the Bears to put the accelerator down. Is that wide? It is. Moeen certainly thought so, waited for it to pass. Just the wrong side of that blue line. And McKiernan will have to bowl the 4th delivery of his first over again. Oh, he's bowled him! It's gone straight through Moeen. Wow. That is a big disappointment for the Bears skipper, who had looked in good touch for his 10 from 11. A couple of fluent strokes in that, but he has to go. McKiernan gets one through Moeen's defences, and the Bears 61 for 2. It's fair to say we didn't see that coming.
No, looks like a little bit of spin there, which it might play into our hands a little bit later on. Obviously, like I said, might have been looking to target him there to the short edge, but yeah, it's a nice delivery. Obviously, I think spinners in T20 want to keep the stumps in play as much as they want, or as much as they can, and yeah, it looked like a nice ball that. But it just brings in a man in form, doesn't it? He's what a player this guy is coming into bat. Haney. There's not much superlatives that we can say about him now.
Come on then, Aaron. We think we all know the stats, but they're just phenomenal at the moment.
They really are. So in terms of the Bears' all-time leading stats, he is the club's all-time leading T20 run scorer, 3,032 runs, averaging 41.53. And I'll tell you what, he's got a very good record against Derbyshire County Cricket Club. Over the course of 9 matches, 274 runs. The strike rate's a little bit lower, 123.98. But he does average 34.25, the best uncapped cricketer on planet Earth at the crease. The sun's shining, Birmingham's looking resplendent. What more would you like on a Wednesday evening?
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's picked him up nicely there, hasn't he, Chris?
He really has. We always worry when that happens. Here we go, Sam Hain's first ball, and he's off the mark straight away, turning that into the leg side, helping himself to a single, 62 4-2. From a Bears perspective, this actually, you think, is an ideal situation for him. The Bears have got a start, 62 on the board, platform is there, he's still got plenty of time.
Yeah, just knocking around 8 and over at the minute, aren't we? If we can keep this up for the next couple of overs.
Oh, Davis has gone straight to short extra cover, and the catch is dropped. And that is a big moment in the game for the Bears, and a hand of an apology from Wayne Madsen, who's already taken one catch this evening to get rid of Rob Yates. That was hit hard, but it's one you'd expect him to take, and the Bears have rather got away with one there.
Some of the best hands in the country, hasn't he, Wayne Madsen? Don't see him drop too many red and white ball. He'll be disappointed with that. That would have been a big wicket there, 2 new men at the crease, but yeah, hopefully that's a life for Al, and he can go on and get a big score now.
Yeah, it's moments like that you have to capitalise on as a batter, and hope that when the game is done and dusted, you've scored big, and someone mentions, oh, you were dropped at 24. You remember that? Oh, yeah. 62 for 2. Sam Hain on strike. Mark Watts third over, and he's kept things relatively tight so far. But undoubtedly now bowling to the man in brilliant Bears form. Quick single is well run once again. I think he would have been okay, Alex Davis. 2 good runners between the wicket as well. Both are very quick, and if they're both setting off straight away, that single's there every time.
It is. Yeah, like you said, two good runners, 2 great athletes. Obviously, use that as part of their armour, I guess, running between the wickets.
Here we go again. There was a slight hesitation, and that A direct hit would have seen Hayne in big trouble, I fancy. Well, we mentioned the commentator's curse, and that was it in full display there. No harm done, 64 for 2.
Exactly.
If that happens again, I need to get out of here. I've only been here 8 balls.
Yeah, there was just a fraction of hesitation. But anyway, here's the 24-yarder from Mark Watt, and it's nicely played. Back and across goes Hayne. There is a man on the cover boundary there. 65 for 2. Davis has 25 of those, and he's ticking along nicely now. 25 from his 23. A couple of lives in there. More runs here. There'll be another one to the cover boundary. 66 for 2. Moeen Ali and Rob Yates, the two men to depart. Moeen bowled by Matty McKinnon, Rob Yates off the bowling of George Scrimshaw, caught by Wayne Madsen. Runs here for the Bears, guided to a vacant third man boundary. Nicely controlled, nicely guided, and Sam Hayne is away.
Control, definitely. I think that's what he'll say. I reckon that's slightly a little bit edgy for Haney, but when the luck's going your way and when you're in man in form, those things seem to happen for you. So I'm sure that'll kickstart his innings. Obviously the right area, and this is what's third over. So 8 overs left after this, and he's only got 1 left. He's a bit of a danger man for Derby. So if we can play him well for the next 7 balls.
Oh, trouble here. Alex Davis charging from the non-striker's end. It was a good piece of fielding. Madsen was having a mixed game in the field. Did well to get that back to Mark Watt quickly, but Davis, well, used his pace well to get back into the crease. A couple of hairy moments running between the wickets. 70 for 2 the score, and we are 9 overs through. And the Bears just building a decent platform here, and they'd still fancy 200 plus is well within their capability from here.
Absolutely. Look at the strikers to come. Maxwell probably to come in next. Young Danny Mouse at 6, and then Chris Benjamin at 7. So some 3 very, very good strikers to come in. So if these two can set up the game nicely over the next 3 or 4 overs, you never know. But obviously Derby have got a good attack, so we need to do this properly and do the next sort of 3-4 overs well to make sure those 3 guys can come in.
McKinnon continuing from the Birmingham end, and he's got another. He has got another. And Alex Davis is the man to go. Clean bowled, and Matty McKinnon has got one through the defences of both Moeen Ali and now Alex Davis for 26. 70 for 3 now, the Bears. And I'm placing the blame fully at the door of Will Rhodes for this, for saying that maybe Matty McKinnon was the bowler that Bears should target.
I've had an absolute shocker. I know 2 overs, 2 wickets. Almost can't wait to get out of here in 3 overs. So I think I might just leave it to you, Chris and Aaron, to commentate on the next few overs. But yeah, look, might be the wrong shot there. Like I said, spinner keeping the stumps in place, so always dangerous here at Edgbaston, and it looks like it's a little bit of a slower wicket than the other day. So again, bringing in a great name, isn't it? You know, one big player departs and another one comes in.
Yeah, that is safe to say, and it's probably, Aaron, safe to say, given the expectation that comes with Glenn Maxwell, the big show and all of his runs and all of the clamour that comes with him, we're yet to see the best of him.
100%, Chris. So far in his first 5 matches for the Bears, 83 runs. The strike rate is phenomenal, 145.61, but we're looking at this situation, 9 overs still to go. Can he afford to blast this ball from ball 1? I don't think so. I think, to be honest, he needs to play a more mature innings, maybe just get himself in for a couple of balls, see it out to the fence, with the 1s and 2s, and then just explode in those final 5. That's where Glenn Maxwell just excels. You look at his IPL strike rate, for example, 183.48. We know what he's capable of. We know what he can do. He's got to take this innings now alongside Haney and set a platform for the Bears in this match.
Well, he's up against a Matty McKinnon, who is full of confidence at the moment. Those 2 wickets. Maxwell off the mark straight away. Little push through the covers for a single. And with Sam Hayne with him, and these are the 2 players, Will, clearly, that if you're wanting to paint a scenario at 71 for 3, who do you want at the crease? It's undoubtedly these 2.
They are. I'll wait for this ball to finish before I say anything else. But look, they're 2 unbelievable players, aren't they?
Yeah, we'll probably stop setting you up. In fact, we'll wait until the end of the over, and then we'll
maybe wait until they both get to 10, and then at least they're in by then, aren't they?
Ah dear. 72 for 3. The Bears winning the toss, and Moen deciding to bat first, which has been successful thus far in this tournament. 2 times it's happened, 2 200 plus scores, 2 wins. I can't believe it, another. Matty McKiernan has got 3 through the defences of Alex Davis, Moeen Ali, and now Glenn Maxwell. It's a spell I don't think he'll ever forget, and for the Bears, what looked a really promising situation a couple of overs ago is turning into a very difficult situation. 3 clean bowled Matty McKiernan, and Glenn Maxwell is the latest to go.
It looks like a beauty that. We've just seen it there on the screen. Got to be usually a good delivery to get Maxi out bowled, and that looks like an absolute belter. So again, if it's doing it now, then that's good signs for the second innings with our spinners. So guys won't be too worried about this situation. Like I say, we've still got some unbelievable players to come in and some good hitters, but I think, like Aaron said in the last over, it's about managing these situations, getting us through to a good total for those spinners to bowl at. And the runs on the board here at Edgbaston we know are key, and it looks like it is gripping a little bit, and obviously with the sun out it might just get a little bit drier in that second innings. So if we can, like I say, you've got to get a score on the board to have something to bowl at, but McKiernan's bowled lovely here in his first 10 balls. 3 for 10. He's almost changed the game and changed the course of this inning so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Aaron?
Yeah, well, gents, I know you like a niche stats, so I've been doing some digging. Matty McKiernan is most successful in T20 cricket in the month of June, so over the course of 15 matches he's taken 16 wickets. Add these 3 tonight, make it 19, and considering he's had such a poor start to the season, just 1 wicket so far for the Falcons over the course of this campaign, this is a huge confidence boost for someone who desperately needed some wickets in this year's tournament.
So the players he's dismissed as well. Dan Mosley is in, and his first ball is flicked down the ground for a single. 73 for 4. And yeah, to dismiss Moeen and Glenn Maxwell, Alex Davis, and 3, but for a bowler, maybe Ryan's better placed. I always think to bowl someone rather than any form of dismissal is good, but bowling is the one, isn't it? That's the sort of holy grail of dismissals.
That's the one, isn't it? That's when you know you've knocked over good players, and it looks like they've all gripped as well. And as a leg spinner, that's what you want, isn't it? You're in the team to I guess spin the ball, and he's actually done that to get through Mo, to get through Maxi. Like I say, it must have been good deliveries. So at the halfway stage, we're set up here nicely. I think it is about even, Stephen. Maybe Derby just ahead, but spin coming into it more and more throughout the innings.
75 for 4 at the halfway stage. Crowd still enjoying themselves in the sunshine. If you're sitting in the Hollies, you have glorious early evening sunshine, and you'll be pondering at an interesting game at 75 for 4. Certainly the runs the Bears would like, but not the 4 wickets down, and especially not the players to be dismissed, albeit the main man Sam Hain is still at the crease. Mark Ward is going to bowl out here. 3 overs, none for 21. He's kept things tight. 7 off his first over. He opened up, which is never easy as a slow bowler, especially in the power play. From the pavilion end, Mosley off his pads through mid-wicket. Run always on there. Yet to see a 6, I think. Yeah, we haven't seen a full 6. 10 overs in.
Which is very strange.
It is strange.
For a team like the Bears who've got such a good boundary percentage. It's the second best in the North Group. So that is very strange, Chris. That's a great observation, and sorry to just detour a little bit. You mentioned about Glenn Maxwell being bowled. We have got Will Rhodes here. If you remember a certain delivery back in 2019 against Lancashire.
I do. I did remind of him when he first signed. I played with Maxi at Yorkshire in 2015, so that delivery was a nice ball. One at Yorker, I think. Probably a couple of stumps out of the ground, but if anyone sees the video, I think it flicked the bails. I was bowling that slow, so yeah, he's obviously a fine player and a nice scout for me.
They all count. The Bears just keeping the scoreboard ticking over. We talk about the lack of 6s, but the 1s and the 2s have been there. And with 4 wickets down, still plenty of time to go in T20 terms. Maybe just a little bit of a foundation needs to be built. There is the old 24-yarder from Mark Watt. And Dan Mosley in control of that one. Mark Watt's reaction suggested he felt that maybe he'd caught him unawares, but not to be. Down the wicket he comes, didn't quite get all of that one. Squirts it backwards of square, single. 78 for 4. The trickiest situation. I don't think anything is tricky in terms of what these two have seen before, especially Sam Hain. But at 4 wickets down, you know that you don't want to be getting into that middle order tail too quickly, and that there is still plenty of time here. Maybe a couple of overs of rebuilding slowly. That's a good shot that could bring runs, could bring 4. Cover sweeper is there, and it will be 2 more runs to the total. It takes the Bears to 80 for 4 and 13 for Sam Hain.
Obviously Scrimshaw's got 3 overs left, and if they keep it going, then he's going to have to bowl 3 of the last 8, so he might get targeted there a little bit. So they might try and find someone from a 6th bowler coming up.
11 overs completed, 80 for 4, and Matty McKiernan continues, and why not? 3 for 13 off his 2 overs. You may as well keep him going from a Falcons perspective. Down the wicket comes Mosley, and this will be runs. He's timed that well. He very nearly placed it to perfection as well. Good fielding on the deep mid-wicket boundary, and they'll come through for 2 at 82 for 4. Aaron, tell us about Dan Mosley.
Great young talent, absolutely fantastic young talent. I could wax lyrical about him all day. Product of Nether Whittaker Cricket Club in North Warwickshire. Has since gone on to represent us in the academy, gone on to play for the England under-19s, and now for the Bears full 11. And you look at people who can score boundaries. Dan Mosley, 52% of his career runs have come from 4s and 6s. So he is the right man for the job if you're a Bears fan.
Yep, just the kind of person you want in any T20 scenario, but has a little bit of thinking to do here with the score at 83 for 4 in the 12th over. Still plenty of time in the Bears innings. Don't want to be losing too many more wickets before the final 5 overs or so, and you certainly want Sam Hain still at the crease. Helps himself to another run, 84 for 4. You mentioned Matty McKiernan earlier. You looked at his figures. You mentioned, Aaron, that 1 wicket. I mean, his 5 innings he's had, 0 for 16, 0 for 27, 0 for 15, 1 for 17, 0 for 21, and all of a sudden here he is 3 for 17 in the 3rd over. Mosley down the track, and will be 1 down to long off, 85 for 4.
And he's bowled incredibly well. Just one observation I wanted to ask Will, actually. Just looking at this game so far, the Bears are playing a lot of these deliveries on the back foot. So we saw that with Alex Davis's dismissal, for example. Given the fact that this pitch is gripping, there's a bit of purchase for the leg spinner. Do you think that the Bears should be playing on the front foot a bit more?
It's a weird one. I think it's very individual. It's very, people... There's always stats about back foot and front foot, isn't there? It's
Hain backward cutting for 4. That was really well played. And you mentioned about not going forward. If you can play shots like that off the back foot.
It's interesting. When I'm quiet, we actually do quite well, don't we? So I'll keep doing it. But yeah, like you say, I think there's always stats. Obviously, like you'll come up with something there. But playing spin off the front foot, playing spin off the back foot, the strike rates, and having a look. And I think Jake Lintott is quite big on that to know whether he gets people playing off the back and front foot, and if it is spinning, it might just give you a little bit more time to play off the back foot. So it's probably method in the madness, maybe just a little bit of execution with shots, I think.
Is that the trigger that Sam Hain needs to really get going? Another single down to long off, and it's the end of the 12th over, 90 for 4. Dan Mosley and Sam Hain together for the Bears. Derbyshire keeping things relatively tight. Another boundary in that over, but now 12 overs completed. Still waiting for the first 6 of the innings, but we've seen in many a T20 match that score can look worryingly low for quite a long time, and then it can really accelerate. And actually the game in point is the game at the county ground on Friday, when Derbyshire were building a fairly okayish score, and then I think the 18th over went for what, Aaron, 25 from Henry Brooks? 27. I presume Wayne Madsen was probably the architect of all the runs, and it can change. Lewis Rees into the attack for the first time for Derbyshire, 90 for 4 the Bears. run straight away off Rees. And it'll be one, maybe two. No, just the one. There was the thought, probably wise, it was only kept to one. So things change very quickly in this format.
They do. Look, I think we talk about boundaries and we talk about, you know, targeting certain bowlers and certain sides of the ground, and you know that was ever present at Derby, wasn't it? Obviously targeted Brooksy's over there. They needed a big over and it came off. Sometimes, you know, a lot of times Brooksy closes out the innings beautifully there, but that's T20 cricket, isn't it? You know, the shots that people play are outstanding. That's one of the worst balls.
Wow. Well, that's take your pick. Beamer at the head of Dan Mosley. That's going to be 4, a no ball and a free hit.
Could this be the over? Could this be the over, Chris? You know, no ball 4, 6th bowler. Obviously, Lewis Rees has probably gone for a little bit of pace on there. Might have gone pace off and got it ever so slightly wrong, but 7 off 1 ball. This could be quite ominous if these two get going.
Yeah.
Free hit. If this goes to the fence and you're looking at 10, 11 off the first ball, this could be the over that gets, you know, young Mouse going.
Not sure whether it was the back of the hand slower ball or whether he just released it far too early, Lewis Rees. Anyway, here comes the free hit that is straight down the ground for 6. That is how to dispatch a free hit. And we talked about the lack of 6s. You can change that now. Great strike, Dan Mosley.
Oh, he'll be loving this situation, won't he? First 6 of the game. He's probably got the whole of Nether Whittaker in the stands somewhere, a whole 10 or 11 of them that he keeps saying how many's there, but he'll be loving this. He'll be loving this situation. Big crowd, sun's out, you know, time for a crisis. He wants to be that man, and he keeps saying it all the time in the rooms, and he's started lovely here.
17 off 9, and it's been a very expensive over already, and we're not even halfway through it. That's another one to the total, courtesy of a wide. This has been a difficult start for Lewis Rees, and well, when one ball goes effectively for 13 with the no ball 4 and the free hit, Bears need to capitalise on this at 104 for 4. That's going to be another wide, and Lewis Rees is struggling here. Already plenty of extras building up.
I think this could be an action over.
Yeah, he called it.
I think Dan will keep going here. I think it's a good time to put him under pressure. You know, if you lose a wicket, so be it, but try and get your 10 or 15 more runs off this over now, I think.
What's that? Is it 15 off the over? We've had 2 legitimate deliveries. Here is Rees again. This one is straighter. And a dot ball. And amazing how often that happens. Carnage for the first 2 legitimate balls, and then a dot just to calm things down. 104 for 4. 14 off the over, halfway through it. And you're right, Will, there is always that over, and this could well be it.
Crowd just started to get on Lewis Rees's back there in that last ball as well, didn't he, if you could hear that. It's never a nice feeling as a bowler.
Full, driven, and will be just the one, I fancy. Didn't quite get all of that. Did Dan Mosley. Fielding done on the boundary by Leas Deploy. 105 for 4. Yeah, and you want and need the crowd involved here. There are many grounds that the crowd don't play too much of a part, but at Edgbaston that's never the case. The crowd are always involved.
Always. That's why people love playing here, especially on a weeknight.
Off the pads goes Hayne. It's moved on to 21 from 14 now, and the score to 106 for 4. Lewis Rees has just clawed back a little bit of control after that very erratic start. The Bears certainly won't mind. Run rate just a tad over 8. Last ball of Rees's first over that's gone for 16 so far. Make that 17 now. Mosley punching down the ground. 107 for 4. And we are through 13 overs with, let's say, the run rate just over 8. So with 7 overs to go, Bears currently will be looking at 160, 170. If they can get that towards 9, 10 and over, then they would be looking at that 200 plus score.
I think they'll be looking at 10 and over from here. 10 and over from here, what gets them 177. Good over in there, maybe up to 185. But we'll see how we go. Obviously, McKinnon's last over here. I said that the guys might target him, but obviously he's been their danger bowler, so you might look to take him for 7 or 8 here, and then wait for the seamers to come back on. I don't think Lewis Rees will probably get another over, but I think what he's done is help the seamers at the end, because if one of them does travel, then they don't have to bowl a full quota of 4.
Yeah. 108 for 4, and Matty McKinnon will bowl out here. 3 for 23 from his 3. Reverse sweep is through the hands of George Scrimshaw for 4. Well, it wasn't without its risk. Scrimshaw, very tall fielder, but he got a lot of it, Dan Mosley, and it's a good job he got a lot of it, because it went straight through Scrimshaw, and it's another welcome boundary for the Bears. Just starting to tick along now, aren't we? It's gone, run rate's gone from 7.3, 7.4 to 8.5 in the space of an over. That's how quickly T20 can change, and I think Foot's going to be on the throttle now for the next 7 overs. Yeah, and a big part of that is the way Dan Mosley is playing, single down the ground to bring Sam Hain onto the strike, and it just takes the pressure off Sam Hain as well, doesn't it? Because he'll be well aware of the form that he's in, coming in with the Bears in a little bit of trouble, watching Glenn Maxwell go for not very much. Naturally, I guess he'd only be feeling, oh, this is on me now. A little bit, yeah, but he's a master of these. How many times has he been in this situation and saved the Bears? But I think he's gone about his business quietly, and he's 21 off 15 balls. If he gets a couple away and he's 30 off sort of 18, 19, going into those last 4 or 5 overs, and you saw how well he struck it the other night against Notts. He can do some real damage in the last 4 overs. He'll know what he's doing now. I don't think us three are probably in a position to tell him what he's doing. That's very true. Very true. Hain driving aerially, but successfully. 1 bounce 4. And that is, well, proving your point, Will, really. Exactly that. He, as you mentioned, rather quietly had crept onto 21 without really doing anything explosive. That's his 3rd boundary, 25 from 16. Terrific placement, terrific shot. Great shot. Trademark Hain over, in and out, into out, over extra cover. He just plays some shots that, us mere mortals just can't even dream about thinking and doing. Unbelievable player, like Aaron said. Read out the stats earlier. Down the ground this time. I don't think this will reach the boundary. It will! Oh, he timed that beautifully. Well, it looked like that was a simple Leas deploy stop, given that it was hit very straight, and the 2 fielders are pretty straight behind the bowler's arm, but that's how well he timed it, and the Hain train is building up momentum. Great shot again, wasn't it? What do I know about cricket? I thought, he might look to get 7 or 8 off this over, and he's trying to take him down. That's probably why I'm up here commentating and not in the squad, which is absolutely fine. I'll keep doing it if Hain is going to keep playing like this. 29 off 17 now, Sam Hain. Huge space with the fielders so deep. They're coming back for 2. That's really good running. Throw to the striker's end, which was the danger end, because Dan Mosley had set off very quickly, but Sam Hain back. And the boundaries are flowing and the running is good. And the scoreboard, and I always like it when it reads like this, is 1, 2, 3, 4. 123 for 4. Final ball of Matty McKinnon's spell. Whatever happens here, it's been a very, very impressive spell. And what happens is a punch through the offside for 1. To move the score to 124 for 4. Matty McKinnon, 4 overs, 3 wickets in that. 3 for 37 in the end. That's an excellent effort. And, well, I'd say it's been a pleasure. Mostly it's been a pleasure, apart from when you were jinxing various Bears batsmen. Back end's been a pleasure, hasn't it? Those last 2-3 overs. So when hopefully it's same again. If I'm allowed to come in and do the second innings, then we'll take some plenty of wickets from the spinners in the middle overs, won't we? But look, we're going nicely here. Our last 5 or 6 overs, and I'm sure Siddy will tell you where probably not to bowl at Sam Hain, which is always nice. So hopefully you can keep going. Thank you, Will. Will be back with us in the second innings. He'll be with our team in the studio as well to provide some more expert analysis. And we'll be back with us on commentary for the Derbyshire reply. I wonder what they'll be chasing. 124 for 4. Ryan Tidebottom back with us with, well, the game interestingly poised. You'd say at this point you're not quite sure who is the happier with 6 overs to go. Anyway, Scrimshaw is continuing, and Hain is also continuing on his way off his pads for 125 for 4. I think you'd rather be in the Bears' position now, given the wickets they have in hand, and Sam Hain and Dan Mosley both in good form, but a couple of wickets changes there. Absolutely. Will's done a very good job for Derby there and got him a couple of wickets in his stint, but very, very evenly poised. These 2 are going to play a massive part in the last 6 overs here, so I think you'd probably, if you were to
to be in one camp. I think you'd rather be in probably the Warwickshire camp with the hitting that they've got to come with Benji and even Woxie and the like. So as Dan Mousley just ticks one into the leg side for a single. But yeah, so Derby would be looking for another wicket or two here, but just to stem the rate a little bit. But it looks like Sam and Dan are doing a lovely job.
Certainly are. Lovely job on a lovely Birmingham evening. Shadows getting lengthier and lengthier as the evening wears on. Imagine it's still one of those nights probably where it's lovely and warm in the sun, but if you're in the shade, you're feeling it a little bit.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that.
Single down to deep backward square. It looks, I mean, you're the expert here, but from our perspective, that it looks quite a difficult pitch to score. It doesn't look very pacey, so the ball isn't coming onto the bat particularly quickly.
Yeah, from all reports, I think it's a used wicket, so I think it might just take a little bit to pick up the pace of the wicket. But generally here, they're pretty good surfaces, so it won't take the batters too long. But yeah, it doesn't look like it's coming on as nice as what some wickets have.
Dancing down the track, Dan Mosley, and then pulling into the onside for one, and then he was a little bit disappointed with that. Felt that maybe he should have either placed it slightly better or perhaps timed it a little sweeter. Picks up a single, 128 for 4. Hayne 34 from 21, Mosley 26 from 16. These two are set in T20 terms. They've got the eye in.
Yeah, I think the emphasis is on them two, these two, to take it as deep as they can, really.
Scrimshaw in, Hayne into the onside. He's timed that beautifully through deep mid-wicket, and that will get him 4. Oh, he timed that so well. Scrimshaw just erring on line, onto the pads. But I think even then, with the shot, you didn't think it had the legs to get to the boundary, but he timed it so well. 4 more to Sam Hayne, 4 more to the Bears.
Yeah, he used his feet nicely there, didn't he? And he's just placed it beautifully. I think if it's a yard either side, I think either fielder would probably cut that off, but the placement was excellent there from Sam.
And just like that, he's 12 away from yet another half century. Run rate now nudging towards 9 and over, with 5 overs, 1 ball of the Bears innings remaining. Scrimshaw in full. Hayne turning this towards deep backward square for a single. He keeps the strike. 133 for 4. Hayne to 39. Dan Mosley remains on 26. And with 5 overs to go, you'd say this is now the ideal setup for these two. You've got an opportunity. You've arguably seen off the danger man in terms of Matty McKiernan because of the way he's been bowling in the 3 overs that he's got. And for the Bears fans in the crowd, they'll be looking forward to an explosive 5 overs now.
Yeah, absolutely. They've set a beautiful platform here. For the last 5 overs, you're definitely looking for, as a batting lineup, you're looking at 200 for sure. Anything over that would be a bonus, but they'd be definitely lining up the 200 for sure. And as a Derby bowler, you're definitely trying to take a couple of wickets to stem the flow. You know, they say the best form of stemming the flow of runs is taking wickets.
Zach Chappell's back from the Birmingham end, and his first ball of his 3rd over is way down the leg side and will be wided by Neil Malinder. Wondered whether there was a little feather on that, but not according to the umpire. It's another couple to the Bears total, 135 for 4. Chappell just getting his radar, I say slightly wrong in T20 terms. That was very wide.
Yes, Sam did give himself a little bit of room, but still that was a little bit wayward down the leg side.
Blue lines on the crease is what the bowlers have to play with, and it seems to get smaller every year. The reverse is not successful, and Dan Mosley goes. Another Bears batter loses his bails. He went for the reverse scoop in the end, and Zach Chappell knocks him over, and Dan Mosley's entertaining 26 comes to an end, and a wicket just at the wrong time for the Bears with both of these batters set. 135 for 5. Dan Mosley gone for 26, bowled by Chappell.
Yeah, nice ball there by Zach Chappell. It's hit the top of the stumps, and you can see where Dan was trying to hit that. You had 3rd man and fine leg up in the circle, so the shot was definitely on. It was just not quite executed the way Dan would have liked, but you know, definitely this time of the innings, you're trying to keep the stumps into play a little bit, and you know, Zach's hit the top of the stumps there, so
yeah, and it brings Chris Benjamin to the crease, who I think we're all agreed, Aaron, we thoroughly enjoy watching, and he's a player though that could do with a score.
We certainly do, Chris. I'm so happy you've teamed me up to talk about Chris Benjamin, because this is again a brilliant niche stats for a Wednesday evening.
Good.
On Wednesdays in T20 cricket, Chris Benjamin averages 69.5, 139 runs, a 193.06 strike rate. He's not been in great form, however, he's got a chance here. They've got the platform, they've got the foundation. Can Benji find some form for the Birmingham Bears?
Facing Chappell for the first time, and he's off the mark with a single. Sam Hain wants two. He set off very quickly. Direct hit, might have been trouble. In the end, got back okay. And Chris Benjamin off with two. Do you have any stats that don't include Wednesdays? I think I feel like most of your stats are just on Wednesday.
It's incredible, isn't it?
I can't argue with that.
If we're playing on a Friday, gents, there'd be Friday, but again, this is the level of detail.
Excellent.
You know.
Birmingham Wednesday, you'll start calling them. Chappell in to Benjamin, gives himself room and will run. What did that part of the anatomy did that come off? Leg by, I fancy is going to be signalled here. Not sure it was his leg, it looked like his chest in the end.
Off the thigh pad, I would have thought.
Off the thigh pad, yeah. Single added to the Bears total, 138 for 5. Not quite at the stage yet, you fancy, where Chris Benjamin is thinking, well, I'll get Sam Hain on to strike because he's the player in form, because Chris Benjamin is in the team, essentially, to be the exploder at this point of the innings.
Yes, but I think the role Benji will play here is he'll give himself a little bit of time. He'll get Sam on strike, and I think that's the role Benji will play for the next over or two, just to give himself a little bit of time.
Hain on strike is beaten. Good one, Zach Chappell. You very rarely get orthodox play and misses at this stage of a T20 innings, but that looked something that we'd see here a week on Friday rather than a T20 match.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely this time of year you generally see the white kookaburra flying about, but yeah, it's nice to see as a bowler at some stage anyway.
Chappell in once again. Hain, that was full. Flicked off the legs, will just be one because it was hit powerfully and straight to the man on the steep square boundary. It's one of those where if you time it that well, it's one. If you mistime it, you probably get two, maybe even three.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of gaps out there that they'll be trying to angle into, and to push the fielders to get those twos.
Chris Benjamin back on strike, and the reverse ramp is ineffective, and it's a dot to end the over. We've seen a couple of attempts of that sort of shot, and maybe just points to the fact that the pitch is not as pacey as the batters would like, and that sort of shot is difficult when you can't really time it. But it's the end of the over, and the Bears still have plenty of opportunity to get this score towards that 200 mark. The momentum has just been quelled slightly because of that Dan Mosley wicket, but 139 for 5, 4 overs still to go, and Sam Hain still at the crease. The Bears will be optimistic they can still nudge towards that 200 point.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the target still is that would be that 200 for sure. You know, these two are extremely big hitters of the ball when they get hold of it, so anything's possible when these two are up and going.
Scrimshaw is going to continue from the pavilion end, 1 for 17 off his 2 overs so far. He's into Hain, turning this into the leg side, and they'll just take the 140 for 5. Still to come for Derbyshire in terms of bowling. Zaman Khan has 2 overs remaining, so you fully expect him to be bowling the 18th and the 20th. Zach Chappell still has 1 to go. George Scrimshaw into his 3rd. Surprised if Lewis Rees is squeezed in, given his solitary over went for 18, including that very costly free hit. And still decent batting to come for the Bears. Benjamin goes aerial, but straight down the throat of deep mid-wicket, and that's the last man he wanted to find. And it's Chris Benjamin who once again just struggles to get a score. Timed it well, and it's the boundary that you want to be hitting Sadly, his placement not quite as good, and it's the 6th wicket down for the Bears, 140 for 6.
Yeah, unfortunate there. Chris didn't quite get hold of that one, but yeah, it looked like the fielder down there, Zach Chappell, he just struggled to pick it up a little bit. He looked like he was looking into the sun and struggled to get it, but yeah, unfortunately, Warwickshire, or the Bears, have lost their 5th wicket, and in comes Chris Woakes, who's, you know, he's got enough experience, he's played enough cricket to know what to do in these kinds of situations, so they're in safe hands.
Yeah, it's good to see him back. Chris Woakes, he played the first couple of T20s for the Bears before going off on England duty in the squad for the Ireland Test, didn't play in the squad for the Ashes Test here a week on Friday. And as far as his Bears T20 record goes, Aaron, what can you tell us? That doesn't include on unless it's a Wednesday. We don't want to know about it.
That is a very good point after that Benjamin wicket, but I'll tell you his stats against Derbyshire. So 7 matches against East Midlands County, 43 runs, a strike of 122.86. So they're not the greatest stats, but then again, stats are there to be broken, aren't they? History's here to be made. Let's see what happens.
140 for 6, Scrimshaw is in, and this is a quickly run single, in the end was, and well backed up as well. 141 for 6, Hayne to 41. Story of the match really, or the story of the Bears innings thus far, has been the wickets just falling at inopportune moments, and the momentum that had been built up then is lost by a wicket, which is often the case.
Yeah, they haven't quite just been able to get going, have they? They seem like they're in a position to hit the go button, and then they lose another wicket, and still ticking at 8.6. So, you know, not too unhappy with that.
Another single taken, and with, well, Chris Woakes at the crease, he'll have a part to play with the ball in the Falcons innings, but he has a job to do here with the bat for the Bears, and it may well be to make sure that Sam Hayne gets on strike for the majority of the final 3 and a bit overs. 142 for 6, short, and Woakes is pulling and pulling brilliantly for 6. Oh, he got all of that one, did Chris Woakes. It was banged in, and he did well to actually reach it. I thought it was sailing miles over his head. Such was the pace and the height of Scrimshaw that any contact was likely to sail over the ropes, and that's exactly what happened. 148 for 6.
Yeah, lovely. Just swinging the bat from Chris there. He's, you know, it was quite high. Bumper from George Scrimshaw there, and the deep backward square fielder looked very interested for a little while, but luckily for Chris, it's just sailed over his head for 6.
Yep. Final ball of Scrimshaw's 3rd over. Another one slightly back of the length, and Woakes back and across, cutting to the cover boundary. Just the one, and he will keep the strike. 149 for 6, 17 overs completed. 3 overs remaining. And don't forget, you can buy your favourite player cards courtesy of Fan Craze. You can head to fancraze.com, choose your favourite Bears player, and away you go. Hayne leading the charge here for the Bears with 3 overs remaining. 149 for 6, 42 from his 27. What do you think the Bears will be happy with, Ryan, from this point, 3 overs out?
From this, anything over 180, I think. You know, 10 and over from here gets them right up there. But anything over 180, I think the Bears will be pretty happy with, especially with Sam there. Woakes is obviously pretty experienced; he'll know what he's doing. But having Sam there is a massive gain for that. But yeah, 180 for sure.
Zaman Khan back into the attack, short. Woakes shoveling that into the leg side for 1. So Khan will be bowling the 18th and the final over. 150 up for the Bears, 150 for 6. It's not been without its alarm, it's safe to say.
Yeah, it hasn't been plain sailing, has it? As I said earlier, it looks like they just get themselves into a good position to hit the go button, and then unfortunately lose a wicket, which stems the run rate. But yeah, interesting 3 overs to come.
Carney once again, that will be wided. There was a slight delay from Neil Mallender, not too sure why, whether it maybe flicked the pad of Hayne. Moving about a bit, Sam Hayne in the crease, and I think Zaman Khan just try to follow him there. But it's another one to the Bears total, 151 for 6. Where will Hayne try and get his runs here, you wonder? Will he use the pace of Khan? Driven down the ground for 1. Set off with purpose, did Chris Woakes. Oh, and he thought about it, but and now Sam Hayne's on the floor and it's all going off. I think a pretty good decision in the end from Chris Woakes not to return, because I don't think it was on the 2. 152 for 6.
Yeah, no, I don't think the 2 was on there. I think they've made a good decision, but yeah, Sam ended up flat on his back, didn't he?
He did. Fortunately, he's okay. Could be 2 here though if they set off quickly and they come back 4-2. That was good running, and in the end it was a comfortable 2. Nicely timed down towards fine leg, and it was just nicely placed between Scrimshaw and Rees at fine leg and deep backward square. 154 for 6 in an innings that has uncharacteristically been short of boundaries, especially 6s. Only 2 I think in the innings so far. One that we've just seen from Chris Woakes, and I think Dan Mosey got the other one, didn't he, off the free hit. Khan is in, Woakes digging this out. Single to square leg. He's a very useful bowler, Zaman Khan, to have in this situation, Ryan, isn't he? Because of A, he's very quick, and B, because he's got that Malinga sling. It's so difficult to read, so difficult to pick up, and if you can get that Yorker, that short ball Yorker combination going at this stage.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that Malinga type action makes it quite difficult to pick up as a batter, but yeah. He's got
short goes Khan, and Hayne goes into the Hollies. That is much more like it, and such is the pace of Khan. Hayne just needs to get bat on it, direct it, and it takes care of itself. Useful 6 for Sam Hayne and the Bears, 161 for 6.
Yeah, lovely shot from Sam there. Banged into the wicket from Khan there, and Sam looks like he's giving himself a little bit of room and to free the hands and got enough on it to get it over the rope.
Yeah, good quick hands. 49 now to Sam Hayne's name, and that will be the 50. The Hayne train continues, and they come back for 2. Chris Woakes ran that well, and you run out of things to say about Sam Hayne. Yet another half century. He is leading from the front for the Bears currently. 51 from his 30 balls, and Aaron, that average is only getting higher and higher.
It certainly is, Chris, and to be honest, this is an absolute pleasure and a privilege to witness this. Sam Hayne's 24th career 50 in T20 cricket, and you know me, I love a good stat. When the Bears bat first in the T20 Blast, Samuel Robert Hayne averages 51.78. You look at that score on there, 51 from 30. He's delivering, isn't he?
The Hayne train's got a head of steam up at the minute, hasn't he?
He has, and we're not sure of its arrival point, and we hope its arrival point is at 20 overs. We don't want him departing anytime soon from the scene, because that average, you say, Aaron, he might be on it, but we don't want it to end there. 51 from 30, 2 overs remaining, 163 for 6. Can the Bears get to 180, maybe 190, being greedy? Chappell in to bowl the penultimate over. It's a huge swing and a miss from Chris Woakes. I suspect he'll want that one back, but that's the play now, isn't it? You go for it. You've got wickets in hand. You have
11 balls left. Yeah, you have to go for it. It looked like a bit of a change of pace there from Zach Chappell, but 11 balls left. You've got wickets in the shed. I think it's time to go.
Time to go big, but a dot to start the penultimate over. Woakes does go big, and there's fielding to be done in the Hollies again. Fine strike over the mid-wicket boundary. Anything Sam Hayne can do, Chris Woakes can also do. 169 for 6.
Beautiful shot there from Woakesy. Just nice stable base and a good free arm swing of the bat, and looks like he got every bit of it, to be honest.
Certainly did. He's looking in good touches. Chris Woakes.
Does anybody want a Chris Woakes Wednesday stats?
Yes, please.
Come on then, Aaron.
On a Wednesday, Chris Wokes has his best career T20 strike rate, 155.26.
So the Bears only play on Wednesdays. Chappell in around the wicket, change of angle, well hit. Wokes, good timing again, straight at Leas Deploy, doing the cover, doing the fielding from his mid-off position.
Got away with one there a little bit. Zach come around the wicket to the right hander with mid-off, with mid-off up and third man back. I think Wokesy might be a little bit disappointed that he didn't quite get it past that man at mid-off, but yeah.
Brings Sam Hain back onto strike, 51 from his 30. And that will be 4 more. The slip drive, which is always a useful shot to have in the bag, especially when third man is in the circle. 174 for 6.
Yeah, open up the front leg and give yourself a bit of room and just throw the kitchen sink at it, don't they say?
Absolutely. Well, it doesn't matter how they come.
Says 4 in the scorebook, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Hain now to 55. And this is turning into a very useful over for the Bears. They will certainly be eyeing 190 now, maybe even more. Chappell is in. Hain is helping himself to 4 more. This is turning into an excellent Bears over. The flick off the pads, the timing excellent. Fielder gives up the chase very early. 178 for 6. And just like on Friday at the county ground, where Derbyshire's 18th over went for plenty, the Bears are doing exactly the same here, and it is propelling them to a very decent target.
Well, my 180's gone out the water, out the window, hasn't it?
It's always good to go low, though, just in case. If he goes high, that's fine. We're happy with that. Chappell is in. Oh, and Hain.
That's 6.
Dispatches it down the ground for 6 more. Beautiful hit. Fine contact once again. Straight down the ground. It's just the over that the Bears needed. With 1 more to go, 184 for 6. Dare I say it, if they don't reach 200 now, there'll be a tinge of disappointment. That's another fine strike down the ground.
Beautiful shot, wasn't it? Again, gave himself a little bit of room with his front leg so he could swing the bat nice and easily, and he's timing the ball superbly at the minute, isn't he?
Certainly is. 65 from just 33. And Zaman Khan will bowl the final over of the Bears innings, winning the toss, batting first, 184 for 6. Khan to Chris Wokes, who guides this down through third man for 4. It's all going the Bears' way at the moment. You have to say, from a bowler's perspective, there's not much more he could have done there. It was a fine Yorker, dug out by Wokes, but it's 4 in the book and it's 188 for 6.
Yeah, sometimes as a bowler you've just got to put your hands up and say fair play, fair play. He's executed that Yorker very well, leg stump Yorker, and Chris has just jammed the bat down there nicely to guide it between almost 2 backward, short third mans there.
Yeah. Khan's response, bowled. Yet another one. It's been a scorecard littered with bowled, and Chris Wokes joins the club, looking to go big. Zaman Khan is rapid. He is so quick, the Pakistan international. And Chris Wokes entertaining 23 from 11 comes to an end. 188 for 7, but that's a very, very useful knock from the England man.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good 23 from 11 from Wokesy there. Again, experienced head, so he would have been in that situation more than once for sure. And yeah, done very, very well for the Bears here. And it brings big Henry Brooks in with his long levers. Hopefully he can get a couple over the rope with his big long levers. So.
Yep, he's certainly capable of that, Aaron.
He certainly is, gents. In fact, in terms of this year...
Does he strike over 100 on a Wednesday?
Well, he does indeed, but in terms of overall tournament strike as well, Henry Brooks striking at 125 so far, so not bad going.
His first ball is rather awkwardly played into the offside. There's no one at point, so that'll be 1 to the total, and Brooks' job has been done there, really. Get Sam Hain back on strike with 3 balls remaining.
Absolutely, as many balls as possible Sam can face, the better for the Bears here, and you know, the 200's still on the cards with these 3 balls to go. Hopefully Sam can get a couple over the rope and steer the ship to, well, guide the Hain train to 200.
Slight change in the field. Fine leg comes into a short fine leg position. George Scrimshaw. Zaman Khan racing in once again. And Hayne goes aerially straight down the ground for all. Something. It's a boundary. And it's 4. Well, I thought that was 6 or out, to be honest. But it bisected the 2 fielders. 1 bounce, 4.
It looked very close, didn't it? From where we're sat here, it looked like it was 6. But they're a lot closer than what we are.
Yeah.
But yeah, beautiful shot, targeting the side screen there from Sam, but didn't quite get enough to get it. But yeah, just short of the rope.
Yeah, looked quite toey, didn't it? Didn't sound as well timed as some of Sam Hayne's other strikes. 2 balls to go, 193 for 7. Can the Bears creep over 200? Boundary would certainly help that cause. And he might get it. He does. He beats mid-off. And once he did beat Leas Deploy at mid-off, it was always 4. And Sam Hayne once again is playing a brilliant hand for the Bears. 197 for 7 and Hayne to 73.
Clever shot from Sam there. Just gave himself some room. A little bit over-pitched from Khan and didn't try and overhit it. Just got it past the mid-off fielder there and trickled away to the boundary for 4.
Final ball of the Bears innings, 197 for 7. Can they get over 200? Yes, they can! With a 6. It had to be from Sam Hayne. Spectacular pull shot. It was a spectacular effort on the ropes to try and catch it. But it is a brilliant 6. It's another brilliant Sam Hayne innings. 203 for 7. Sam Hayne ends unbeaten on 79. That average increases once again. What would the Bears do without the Hayne train?
Yeah, the emphasis would be put a lot more on the other guys, that's for sure. But yeah, he's in incredible form at the minute, isn't he, Sam? Fair play. He's pushing for a higher honour for sure. Can't come soon. It's got to come soon, doesn't it? Really, like the way he's playing at the minute, he's in the form of his career, and you know, you'd love to have another 1 or 2 of them in the team, but you know, I think the Bears are just lucky to have Sam in the form he is at the minute, and you know, he's spearheading the batting lineup beautifully.
He certainly is. So for the 3rd time batting first in the competition, the Bears breached 200, and the 2 times they've done that against Yorkshire and Northants, they have won the game. So it bodes well, and whenever you hit 200 plus in any form of cricket, T20 especially, you are very much in the game. So the Derbyshire chase to come. When they do take to the wicket, they will need 204 to beat the Bears. 203 for 7. Sam Hayne, the star of the show, 79 not out. We'll be back for the resumption for the Derbyshire chase. For now, though, it's back to Atif in the studio.
Wow, 203 for 7. An outstanding effort, particularly in the back half of that innings from the Birmingham Bears. 203 for 7. You were only 1 off in the end, Will.
Unbelievable,
that was pretty good.
Yeah,
you said 204, didn't you?
I'm happy with that, 204, yeah.
What did I say? Did I say 203?
Yeah.
No,
I think we're well under on it, well over.
There's no way to go back in the stream, sadly, to work it out. But, I mean, that was outstanding. And it's Sam Hayne again. You talked about him earlier, about him being a phenomenal player. Even before we came on live, we were doing some chats with some people here at Edgbaston. You were full of praise for Sam Hayne. He's just on another level right now.
I think the most impressive thing about that knock was how well he timed his innings there. Got himself going, was 20 off 15 balls, and then he's ended up 80 not out off 35 balls. So impressive, time and time again. It just feels like he does it every innings, and he's got us up to a very, very competitive total there. And 200 on any pitch is fantastic. So obviously spin came into play, didn't it, in those middle overs, and we've got 4 of them, 4 high quality spinners. So I think the boys down there in the changing rooms will be fancying the chances.
They most certainly will. But I mean, let's go back to this performance from Sam Hain. 79 not out today. There was a 97 not out in between as well. He's had 450s, a bunch of not outs in there as well. 450s in 7 matches. You take that every time, surely.
Absolutely. He's in fine form, isn't he? It's a pleasure to watch, and I'm sure the crowd have really enjoyed that. Game was in the balance at halfway, and then we've just witnessed an absolute masterclass. And it's almost becoming a little bit of a norm now, isn't it? Haney not getting us out of trouble, but him putting on a show. It gives a lot of the guys in the rest of the changing room so much confidence to go out and play the way they want to play. When you know someone that consistent is in your batting lineup, so he's an absolute freak. He's a pleasure to watch, and he's a pleasure to have on our team. And there were some cameos around him as well. It was a weird kind of innings because it started really aggressive, and then they went into their shells, and then aggressive and shell, and then the big finish at the end. But I mean, at the top, you had Rob Yates, who's come back into the side today. I thought he played really nicely. He got 21 off 15 balls, but some glorious shots, particularly through the covers. Must have enjoyed those. Yeah, he's pretty eye-catching, isn't he, when he plays like that? Obviously, got 70. He's full of confidence at the minute, and some of those shots were outstanding. Taking use of that power play, that use of the new ball. Obviously, I think, Derbyshire after that Yates wicket just got hold of the pitch a little bit. Slow balls obviously seem to work in that middle stage, and obviously towards the end they might have misexecuted a little bit, but Robin Davis certainly took use of that new ball. And obviously Alex Davies alongside him did quite well, struggled to sort of impose himself, but he got 26 to his name. Dan Mosley got another 26 as well. He's chipping in with these cameos every game. Like, is just invaluable as a cricketer. We love him here on Bears Den TV because he's always with us after the match. And I just thought, again, it was such a valuable time to stabilise with Sam Hain and just set the stage for the lower order to come in and bang. Very mature innings, wasn't it, from a young man, and that's what he is. He's a fine talent. You forget how young he is, but he's actually played a lot of games for his age, and I think today he showed that real maturity on his shoulders. Got us out of a little bit of a hole. Shame he couldn't go on. It was probably quite an adventurous shot that he got out to, but he practiced that so many times in the net, so you don't mind him getting out that way. And he'll have a job to do with the ball as well. He nailed a few of those. He's a big fan of a reverse sweep, as Dan Mosley, and he executed a couple really, really nicely. Now, Chris Wokes, by the way, he played a shot towards the end, which you were watching, you were telling, was a remarkable shot. It was like full-length Yorker outside the off stump from Zaman Khan, who bowls like this, like sideways, like it must be so hard to pick out. But again, a cameo from him, 21 off 11, just came and did the job, really, didn't he? He did, yeah. He played some shots. Obviously, that 6 off Scrimshaw towards the short side was great batting. Just gave us that impetus at the right time. Lovely little cameo, and that's what you need from your lower order. Your engine room, your 5, 6, 7, 8, and a little bit of steps in there, wasn't it? That's quite good for you. But if you can provide that, down the order, it gives people like Haney just that little bit more time to get in, work out the pitch, and realise what a par score is. And I think we're above and beyond that par score on that wicket. It's just for the boys like Worksy to come out and defend it. It's not as good a batting track as it was. I mean, I know it's a hybrid pitch, so they don't really change that much. But even so, it's not as good as the wicket we saw 400 plus runs scored on just a few days ago. Yeah, there's a little bit of spin there. McKinnon got a couple to spin. That ball to Maxwell was a fine delivery. So I'm sure Briggsy, Moore, Maxie and Dan are licking their lips there. But the seamers up top have got to get the job done as well. Milo, Brooksy and Worksy will be really relishing that opportunity. A good power play, 2 or 3 wickets, and we'll be right in this game. Yeah, it's a shame Jake Lintot's not playing. I'm sure he would have enjoyed that. Now, just briefly from a Derbyshire perspective, because we are a very impartial programme here on Bears Den TV, you Bears. I mean, who's getting the runs for them? I mean, for me, really, there's only one batter, if any, in this group who's batted better than Sam Hain. And this season, that's 39-year-old Wayne Madsen, which fills me with a lot of hope because I'm not a million miles away from that age myself. But he's been extraordinary this season, getting runs for fun. He's got a century, he's got 450s. There's a lot of pressure on him to deliver today, isn't there? Like you say, he got, I think it was 100 to win the game against Leicester, wasn't it? Not so long ago, so he's in fine form. Seems to just get runs every single year, doesn't he? And he seems to be getting younger with his play, but obviously older in the body. But great player. Deploy had a great franchise tournament in South Africa, so obviously he's a big wicket as well. And the 2 openers up top, is it Hyder Ali, the overseas opener. So there's some dangerous players in there. We can't take our foot off the throttle. Obviously, Ian Bell's their batting coach as well, so he'll have some good tips on how to bat at Edgbaston. So, if we can get those 3 big wickets nice and early, that would be really, really nice. It feels weird, doesn't it? Ian Bell coaching a team that's not the home team at Edgbaston. It did, yeah. I think a few lads are trying to ignore him, but yeah, there's some good hugs all around. He's a legend,
Bell
isn't he?
Suite next door. You know, it's just, there's buildings and stands named after him, and he's coaching the opposition. But even so, I mean, as you say, they will feel very confident, 203. But like having conceded 215, just a couple of games, just the previous game, in fact. I mean, does that stay in your mind as a player? Do you, because you know that you're capable of conceding that? Like, is there like a doubt, a butterfly, something at the back of your mind as a team that the job's not done?
There can be, but that's the sign of a good player, is to eradicate that from your mind straight away. You know, T20 cricket now, 200, 190, 200 is becoming the norm, isn't it? So you're almost expected to go for runs. It's how you deal with that pressure, how you can get into your over, how you can close out your over and executing your plans. And on a hybrid wicket, it's still a good wicket. Yes, it might be spinning a little bit, but it's still sliding on quite nicely. So if they can get in and out of overs, especially the seamers, and leave the spinners to do some good jobs in the middle, I don't see why we can't close out this game.
Yeah, small boundaries on the left and, you know, across on the square of the wicket. So there's areas to target, and one of the straighter boundaries is one I'm sure they'll be looking at as well. The Derbyshire batters. But I mean, predictions. You think we'll close this out reasonably quickly?
It's like I said earlier. Hopefully by 20, that'd be nice. We don't want it getting too tight. Obviously, net run rate might come into it as well. So guys will be looking to get the job done. And if there's an opportunity to bowl a team out, then we will be. I'm sure we'll be hunting those 10 wickets down. But yeah, T20 is about taking wickets. So let's try and bowl them out.
Will Rhodes, thank you so much for your time. It's a pleasure. We're going to speak after the game as well. Right now, the players are headed on their way out. The Birmingham Bears looking to defend 203, 204 the target for the Derbyshire Falcons.
So here we go then. The Bears defending 203 for 7. Derbyshire looking for 204 to win the game, to try and reignite their quarter-final hopes. The Bears looking to maintain a decent start to the competition, looking to avenge those 2 defeats to Derbyshire and Notts. The Falcons on Friday at the county ground. But the end of the Bears innings, you suspect, would give them great momentum going into defending this total, especially with Chris Wokes back in the fold. 204 the target. Ryan Sidebottom, Aaron Viles alongside me. Aaron providing the statistics, mainly on a Wednesday. But I think we've got a non-Wednesday stat to kick us off, have we, Aaron? Chris Wokes?
We have indeed. Instead of Wednesday, it's about the month of June. So June is the most successful calendar month for Chris Wokes in T20 cricket. He's taken 39 wickets with a 7.67 economy rate.
And he's going to be opening up for the Bears from the pavilion end. The floodlights flicker on, but it's still a glorious evening. You can see the lengthening shadows cast by the floodlight pylons on the pitch. Lewis Rees and Hada Ali opening up for Derbyshire. There are 2 slips for Chris Wokes. Power play starts with the men out on the boundary at square leg and also at third man. And here is Wokes to Rees, and it's a dot to start the Derbyshire innings. And it was a Bears innings that Ryan was strange in many ways, but I think at 203 for 7 at one point looked quite a long way off, especially when Chris Benjamin went at 140 for 6, and you thought getting 180 would be an achievement, but getting over 200 is very, very defendable from a Bears perspective. Wokes to Rees, who is away, guiding that down to one of the men outside the circle, third man.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a bit of a stop-start innings from the Bears, wasn't it? I think I said earlier on the comms that it looked like they kept getting themselves into a position to hit the go button, and unfortunately would lose a wicket, which, you know, would stem the flow of runs. So, but at the end of the day, 203. I think if you offered that at the start of the game, I think 9 times out of 10, well, 10 times out of 10 in my eyes anyway, you'd take it every day of the week. So, yeah, fantastic innings from Sam Hain to anchor it, and yeah, interesting to see how the Bears go about this innings. Early wickets are the key, I think, and you know, having Wokesy here is a very, very lucky commodity to have.
Here he is again bowling to Hada Ali, who's punching that very attractively down the ground. Won't get a run for it. Moeen Ali doing the fielding. 1 without loss. Haider Ali, one of the overseas players at Derbyshire this season. Zaman Khan and Haider Ali both play T20 international cricket for Pakistan, and Haider Ali, who, a bit like Glenn Maxwell, really has had a slowish start to his Derbyshire career, but really came to the fore last time out against Yorkshire, Aaron, didn't he? 74 he hit, ultimately losing effort for Derbyshire.
Yeah, it was, unfortunately for the Falcons, but a fantastic knock nonetheless from Haider Ali, and he's a very powerful, punchy cricketer, loves playing off the back foot, really strong on the pull shot, really strong on those carves over point as well. So that's something for Chris Woakes and the Bears bowlers to be aware of. He's so strong on the leg side. You do not want to be bowling it short, you don't want to be bowling it straight at him, you want to just hang it outside of his off stump, and if the Bears can do that, maintain that discipline, line and length, they could see some success here in the second city tonight.
2 for 34, 1 for 28. Chris Woakes, the 2 T20s he's played for the Bears this season. Into Ali, who's just guiding this to short mid-wicket, dot. And when you are facing someone of Chris Woakes' calibre, Ryan, as much as you want to get off to that good start and get that scoreboard ticking over very quickly in the power play, you're conscious that you're up against one of the world's premier bowlers in Chris Woakes. You probably naturally go defensive even in this form of the game.
Absolutely, he just doesn't miss, does he, Chris? He's so consistent. Early on, he's obviously pitching the ball up, giving it a chance to swing. Doesn't look like there's a hell of a lot of swing out there at the minute, but yeah, just giving it every chance, and you know, almost don't play against Chris Woakes. You just got to play the ball. But great first over there from Chris.
2 off the first over, and you would take that every day of the week, on Wednesday especially, but
twice on Wednesdays.
Twice on Wednesdays, yeah. But that is a very good start for the Bears and Chris Woakes, 2 without loss, with Derbyshire chasing 204 for victory. And Henry Brooks will open up from the Birmingham end, and we did wonder whether it would be pace and pace. Derbyshire opening with spin, but the Bears going with pace from both ends.
Yeah, young Henry Brooks, well, not so much young anymore. He's been around for a couple of years now and done quite well, hasn't he? He's an exceptional talent, and looking forward to seeing how he goes tonight.
Brooks to Ali, who is leading edge to the incoming third man, who is Craig Miles, and in the end it fell just short, and that was streaky from Haider Ali. He glares accusingly at his back. That was a big old leading edge that went aerial but safe.
Yeah, the athlete that is Craig Miles down there did an extremely good job to get so close, just short of him there, but yeah, I think very much a leading edge from Ali there, and lucky to get away with it.
Yeah, just a fraction short of Miles. Did incredibly well to make up the yards to get to it. And another streaky one, this time from Lewis Rees, very nearly dragging on. Instead, the under edge goes for 4. And if you're Henry Brooks, you're wondering how you've not got a wicket from those 2 deliveries. Instead, you've gone for a boundary. 7 without loss, the Falcons.
Yeah, extremely stiff there, Henry. One outside or leading edge goes just short of your fielder, and then the next one, an under edge back past the keeper, down to fine leg for 4, and extremely lucky there.
Yeah, hands on hips. Henry Brooks. Tell us about Henry Brooks, Aaron. He's a player with great potential.
He certainly is. I mean, Ryan's already said it, an extraordinary talent, and we saw that in Blustoff, didn't we? 4 for 32 against Yorkshire. He's kind of gone off the boil a little bit in these past few games, but yeah, you can't deny the talent is definitely there.
Lewis Rees driving fluidly, but straight to Moen at mid-off. Decent stop from the skipper. Good job he was there. That was 4 otherwise. Yeah, and he'll want to make amends, I'm sure, from the last meeting when they played on Friday, that very costly over, the 18th over. Did that sort of thing play on bowlers' minds, especially when you play the same team again so quickly?
I think so. Obviously it's a different game and it's a new chance, but you can't get rid of it that quick. He'll have some form of it on his mind, but he'll be keen to just get stuck in here, and unfortunately just bowled one a little bit too wide there, so he'll have to bowl that one again. But yeah, he'll be keen to get stuck into the game pretty quickly and hopefully get an early wicket for the Bears.
Yeah, that looked very borderline from first view. But the benefit of the doubt does tend to go to the batting team when it comes to wides. Top ball, good follow up from Brooks. Rees digging that out. 8 without loss inside the second over. Sun still shining, floodlights are on. It's a glorious evening. It's perfect weather for cricket if you're in the sun. We are still mid-June-ish now, but still chilly in the shade. Been blessed with the weather so far in this T20 Blast competition. In fact, I don't think there's been any game that hasn't been played up and down the country, such has been the weather so far. That's a good looking shot from Rees, and that'll be 4 runs. A little bit of width on offer there from Brooks, and Rees driving through the covers, and that'll be 4, and Derbyshire 12 without loss. He can be a dangerous customer, Lewis Rees. He's another that's been around the block for a long time, and when he gets going he can hit the ball, and you don't want to give him any width.
No, you don't want to give any left-handers any width, to be honest. Unfortunately, just going across him there, Henry, and probably a little bit marginally full as well, trying to get it to swing, but yeah, the width was the main thing.
What's the Brooks response like? Last ball of his first over, Rees is pulling, and that'll be 4 more. You don't want to give him width, and you don't want to give too many short balls Lewis Rees's direction. He's very good off the back foot, cutting and pulling, and that's turned into an expensive first over from Henry Brooks. The first went for 2 off Chris Woakes, but the second has gone for 14, and Derbyshire 16 without loss, 2 gone. Aaron, just felt like you wanted to come in there?
Yeah, I did actually, because in terms of Henry Brooks' overall record against Derbyshire, unfortunately for the Bears fans, it isn't great. 4 wickets in 4 matches, very expensive. Economy rate of over 12 runs and over, so you do have to give a lot of credit to Lewis Rees. He's also got an excellent record against the Bears, 131 runs, striking at 159.76, and as you rightfully said, Chris, very good off the back foot, very powerful, punchy cricketer, and that was a lovely over if you're a Derbyshire fan.
Chris Woakes continuing, that's a good line. Good length as well. Quick single taken, which took Haider Ali by surprise. Lewis Rees was he was almost with him at the striker's crease by the time Ali set off. But they come through for 1, 17 without loss. The Bears ran well in their innings, and it'll be a feature here, you suspect, for Derbyshire as well, given that there weren't too many boundaries struck in the Bears innings.
Knowing Mickey Arthur, that would be a KPI of their innings for sure, making sure that they're putting the pressure on the field, and they've done it so far.
Another quick single taken, short extra cover, racing in to do the fielding. Dan Mosley there quickly in, 18 without loss, and whenever you're chasing a score of 200 plus, we've seen teams go about it in various different ways, but you feel that the power play so crucial for both sides. If the Bears can get those wickets, get the early wickets, Wayne Madsen seems the key, feels the key given the form that he's in. If they can get through the top order of Derbyshire, they'll feel they've done the hard yards. Woakes to Haider Ali, who goes big again, and once again rather streakily clears. Short third man for 4. There have been some fluent boundaries hit by Derbyshire, also some streaky ones, and that was off the edge of Haider Ali's bat. 22 without loss, he's moved to a runnable 7, but if you're the bowler, once again, you're ruining your luck.
Yeah, unfortunately there, he's just got enough over to get over the short third man fielder there, but yeah, he's danced down the wicket to give himself some room as well.
Another pull shot, and that's into a vacant deep mid-wicket space, and that's 4 more. So Chris Woakes getting some treatment now after a very tight first over. Back-to-back boundaries for Haider Ali. 26 without loss, and as Aaron was mentioning, the one area of the pitch that you don't want to bowl to Haider Ali is anything short, because he's very accomplished off that back foot.
He is indeed, Chris, and this is something which the Bears did, weirdly enough, at the county ground in Derby. I mean, it's not a valuable tactic against someone like Haider Ali. He's not amazing on the offside. He's such a strong player on the legs and down the ground. We've seen that tonight. That was an excellent shot from the Pakistani opener. But yeah, just for the Bears here, a little bit of a tinkering of the strategy, I think, is needed.
Down the leg side, that'll be wided by Tom Longley. So this is turning into a difficult start for the Bears. 2 off the first over, but now 2 balls shy of 3 gone, and it's 27 without loss. A little bit of movement in the crease from Hadir Ali. Chris Woakes trying to dart one in, but getting the radar slightly wrong, and it's a ball he has to bowl again. Pulled, should be just the 1. Might push for 2, but the hand goes up from Hadir Ali to send Lewis Rees back, and it is just the single. Some good fielding keeps it to 1. It's 28 without loss. Quick word between the 2 potential England colleagues, Moeen Ali and Chris Woakes, a week on Friday, the first Ashes test here. You'd suspect that Moeen Ali will play. Bear in mind that they've gone to all this effort, England, to get him out of retirement to play. And we all hope that Chris Woakes plays, but you sense that his position is a little bit unsure. Woakes in, Rees off the pads for an easy single. Looked for 2, and there was such a big space there. This is why it was threatened, but 1 taken. Score moves to 29 for no wicket. Managed to turn our live feed off, which isn't ideal. I've got it back though, you'll be pleased to know. I misread the instruction where it said, do you want to keep it on? And I said no for some reason. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, 29 without loss, 3 overs gone.
Looks to be a change of bowling here as well. Looks like the young Dan Mousley's coming on to bowl from the City end. Looks like they're trying to take the pace off. With Lewis Rees being the left-hander as well, that could come into play. But it looks like he, well, from the start of the campaign, he's done quite well with the ball, and yeah, he's quite a talent.
I'm sure Aaron in a moment can tell us just how well he's done with the ball. That 3 for 13 does stand out. Here he is, first ball. He's really fired in at Lewis Rees. He wasn't expecting that. That was an excellent first delivery. I'm not sure anyone was expecting that. Alex Davis behind the stumps, I don't think was expecting that. Good start from the Birmingham end, 29 without loss. Rees on 15. Driving, that's a really good stop. Rob Yates getting a big left hand to that. Had he not done so, that was 4. Excellent piece of fielding. 30 the score moves to. Aaron, Dan Mosley, tell us about his bowling.
Well, he's got off to a great start in this year's campaign. 6 wickets, an average of 22.66. You mentioned those career best figures right here at Edgbaston against Lancashire, and Liam Norwell mentioned this on the commentary. Dan had a stint overseas with the MI Emirates in the UAE T20, and he's learnt this really fast, sharp, rapid, darting arm ball, and he's used it to great effect in this year's T20 Blast. So for the Bears having that extra bowling option, he also stood out against Notts in the last game. Very economic figures in comparison to the rest of the bowling attack. He's definitely a useful option for the home side to have in this particular encounter.
It'll just be a dot to fielder at backward point, who is Henry Brooks. Yeah, and you suspect, Ryan, that spin will clearly be a big part because Bears have so many capable of doing the discipline. That's full, and Rees is driving. That'll be 1, 32 without loss. And given the first 2 overs well, 3 overs have been relatively expensive. The first was good from Woakes, but then the 2 following from Woakes and 1 from Henry Brooks have gone some. You suspect that spin, with Moeen Ali in the team as well, will be a big part of the Bears' defence. That'll be another single push down to long on. It might even be 2. No, just the 1.
Yeah, definitely. I think spin is going to play a massive part. You know, with Danny Briggs, Moeen, as you mentioned, there's also Glenn Maxwell. But you look at the way Derby went about their first innings with McKinnon, bowled really well. What did he end up with? 3 wickets and yeah, bowled extremely well. So I think spin will play a big part.
4 overs gone. It's 33 without loss. And a change of end for Henry Brooks, whose first over from the Birmingham end went for 14. Now he's operating from the pavilion end, and Hadir Ali says, I don't care what end you're going from, I'm going to give you the treatment, and that's a big 6-over cow corner, and that's not the start that the Bears or Henry Brooks wanted to his second over. Had a rally to 20, and the Falcons to 39 without loss.
Yeah, not an ideal start for the over for Henry there. Ali just gave himself a little bit of room and whacked it over wide long on. So it'd be interesting to see how Henry bounces back here.
Word in the ear from Chris Woke, just a reassuring word, I'm sure. Ali gives himself room and cuts through point for 4 more. He's a very accomplished player, is Haider Ali, and if you get your line and your length slightly wrong, he will punish you. And there's a lot of thinking for Henry Brooks to do here. 43 without loss, the Falcons, chasing 204, and Haider Ali has 24 now.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of a change of pace from Henry there, but unfortunately just gave him a little bit too much room there to free the arms.
The Bears could really do with a wicket here. More runs for Haider Ali off the pads into the leg side, just in front of square. 44 without loss, and the power play, the Bears power play from memory, it was 48 for 1, wasn't it? So, and we said then that both sides would have been relatively happy with that. If the Falcons can get through the next 1 and a bit overs still with 10 wickets in hand, then they'll be very pleased, given 44 without loss. They'll already feel that they've plundered enough runs off this power play for them to be in a strong position. Around the wicket now, Brooks, short, and Rees gets toe on that. He was through the shot very, very quickly. In the end, a welcome dot there for the Bears. I'm not sure what Rees was trying. 44 without loss.
There was a lot happening there, wasn't there? Yeah. With Lewis charging down the wicket and Henry banging it in, and yeah, so
it's been a decent comeback from Henry Brooks, who needed to make amends from his first over, then saw the first 2 of his second disappear to the ropes. Rees is 17 not out, and again he's tried the same shot. He was almost through it so quick that it came off the follow through off the toe and very nearly into the hands of that where are we there, the left-hander of the short third man. Another very unorthodox shot.
Yeah, almost off the back of the bat there. To is it Benjamin there at short third man? But yeah, Henry's plan here, it looks like, to Lewis Rees is to dig it in with his 2 fielders, one behind deep backward square and one sort of a deep mid wicket.
Final ball of the 5th over. Lewis Rees struck on, I think, the pad. It matters not because no run was taken. It's the end of the 5th, and it's 44 without loss, and it's been an expensive couple of overs for Henry Brooks. 1 more over of the power play to go, and the Bears, Ryan, could really do with a breakthrough, of breaking this partnership, because at the moment Derbyshire Falcons will be very pleased with the start that they've made.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll be really happy with this. The Bears, striving for a wicket here. We said it earlier on the comms that the wickets are the best way to stem the run rate and bring the Bears back into the game, I should say. But yeah, very important for the Bears. Looks like that last one might have hit Lewis Rees in the hand.
Yeah, there's a couple of the Derbyshire players that are on the field. Got one physio, and then the 12th and the 13th men come on. There's a few there that the Bears will remember. Alex Thompson being one of them, formerly of this parish. Hasn't really had too much game time for Derbyshire, but yeah, this break in play to deal with, well, both batsmen. Well, Haider Ali's just getting a few drinks, and yeah, it does look like Lewis Rees got a wrap on the glove, and we'll just take a little bit of time. And this is not necessarily a bad thing for the Bears. They talk about in football and things like that, momentum and rhythm and breaking up the play, and given that Derbyshire are going along quite nicely, maybe this little break in play, not the end of the world.
Yeah, no, not the end of the world. Hopefully it can work in the Bears' favour here. Looks like Dan Mousley's going to bowl his second over and hopefully be the one to get the breakthrough.
Lewis Rees okay to continue, 44 without loss, and Mosley first over went for 4 from the Birmingham end, which was a very satisfactory start for him. And Haider Ali will be on strike, 25 from 14, Rees 17 from 16. And that'll be 1-2. That short, just square leg position, short square leg, short fine leg, 45 without loss.
With a long on and a deep mid-wicket here, it looks like Dan's going to be firing it in towards leg stump, trying not to give any of the batters any room.
Still in the power play. That's going to be 4 though, through the covers. Lewis Rees, it's a shot that he plays so well, a shot he excels at. Got his foot to the pitch, swung through the line, and it's the first boundary off Dan Mosley. 49 without loss, Lewis Rees to 21.
Yeah, didn't quite get into leg stump there, just gave him a little bit too much room to free his arms, and Lewis was good enough to find the gap in the covers there.
That's where you'll be aiming for a Falcon with the 2 cover fielders on the leg side, so Dan Mosley needs to be bowling exactly there, really, on the pads of Lewis Rees. And the fielding is completed at that deep mid-wicket position. It must be a frustration as a skipper when you set a field clearly for straight balls, really. Anything wide, it can easily be dispatched through the covers, and you need to make sure that radar is right, otherwise everyone looks a bit foolish, really.
Yeah, definitely not helping your captain out with that, are you? But
oh, that's big. That is big from Hadir Ali. He picked that up very early, flicks it over deep mid-wicket. In the end, it really was only a flick, but he timed it so well, and it's a 6 to the Derbyshire total, a 6 for Hadir Ali, who's 31 now, and Derbyshire to 40. Well, there must be over 50 now. The scorecard disappears from view ever so slightly, but that ever so quickly. But that is 56 now without loss, with 2 balls of the power play to go. Driving is Hadir Ali, well fielded by Dan Mosley. It's been the Falcons' power play. There's no doubt about that.
It has. They've been quite aggressive, haven't they? And unfortunately, the Bears bowlers haven't quite hit their areas.
And the power play ends with a punch through the offside for 1. And 57 without loss concludes the power play. And it's been Derbyshire Falcons' power play for sure, with, well, all 3 bowlers for the Bears receiving some punishment. 2 for 50, 2 overs, none for 15. Chris Wokes, none for 25 off Henry Brooks 2. And none for 15 off Dan Mosley, 56. But if you're the Bears, Aaron, you're looking and going, well, 48 for 1 was our power play score. The Falcons are not exactly a million miles past that. And only 1 wicket down for the Bears, no wickets down for the Falcons. Clearly the Bears would want that to be different, but there's no need to panic just yet.
No, there certainly isn't, Chris, and if the Bears want to break through, this is the man right here,
yes.
Danny Richard Briggs, the leading wicket taker in Vitality T20 Blast history. 213 wickets, an economy rate of 7.24, exactly what the Bears require in this particular situation.
Indeed. Yeah, he's really, Ryan, the go-to player. You thought maybe Mo would take over at this point, a few overs from him, but if not, Danny Briggs is the man. Down the wicket comes Rees. Now that has gone high. Has he got enough of that over square leg? He has. It's another maximum. It's another 6 for Derbyshire. And Lewis Rees is joining the 6-hitting party. In the air for a long time. For a moment it looked like the 2 deep fielders there now were at the power play, were in the game, but not to be.
No, not to be. Yes, and you're right. The Bears quite often turn to Danny for if they do need a wicket, and extremely experienced, wily old character here is Danny.
Nudged into the onside. Briggs thought about doing his own fielding, but Miles races in, and in the end 2 taken by the Falcons. That's really good running. Direct hit may have been interesting, but there is and are spaces in this Bears outfield with plenty of fielders on the ropes, and the Derbyshire Falcons exploiting a gap there. 66 without loss now, Derbyshire chasing 204, wicket needed. And there's that shot again. Now they pushed for 2 last time, not this time. Not this time. What's Moen do here, do you think, Ryan? You're in desperate need of a wicket. You know that the run rate is a little too high as far as you're concerned.
To be honest, it's an interesting one to see whether they go spin from both ends or whether they bring Craig Miles into the game. as Ali gets one backward of point there for 2 more. But yeah, whoa, hang on, 1 short here.
You don't often see that, the 1 short signal. Well.
Give you one, Aaron. Come on, see how many times does that happen on a Wednesday?
Yeah. How many times does that happen full stop? You very rarely see 1 short these days. It's one of the signals not often used by umpires. 7 gone, 69 for no wicket. Ryan, we'll see you at the back end of the innings. Hopefully you bring us a little bit more luck.
Hopefully Will does the same thing in the first innings and gets a few wickets for us.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
We'll see you shortly.
When in need of a wicket, there's only 1 man to call for. Crowd are still enjoying it. I think they're the scout. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been in the scouts, but they've got the scarves and the woggles. But I'm not sure there are so many variants these days. Venture scouts, do they still exist? I'm not sure. Anyway, they're in and they're having a lovely time. They'd like a couple of wickets, and when we need a wicket, we call for Will Rhodes, because Will, you were the kiss of death for many of the Bears batters. So now we're hoping that you're the kiss of death for many of the Falcons batters.
I'm back. I'm ready. Looking for 80 for 4 here, aren't we? That's why I'm here. No, it's been a good start, hasn't it? They've played nicely, the 2 openers from Derby, but at least the rate's not got too out of control. It's still above 10 and over. You know what it's like here. As soon as you get a couple of wickets, a little bit of pressure. So hopefully Marlow can do that.
Yep, Craig Miles, Birmingham end, bowling at Hadir Ali, helping himself to 1 deep backward square. Craig Miles, Aaron, what have you got on him?
Yeah, Bears leading wicket taker in this year's T20 Blast with 9 wickets. The economy rate has been quite expensive though, 9.05 runs per over, so the Bears looking to improve that in tonight's game. A couple of wickets would be lovely in this situation, but yeah, Craig Miles, he's been around in T20 cricket, experience, played plenty of games for Gloucestershire. Obviously now an experienced player in this Bears side, so again, a good option for the home side to have.
Yep, 28 years of age, Craig Miles, which is seems to be a very good age, right in your prime. Bowling at Lewis Rees, punching that down deep mid-wicket region. There'll be 2 there. 72 for no wicket, and that no wicket will be of growing concern, Will, for Moeen, who will know full well that they can get that breakthrough, albeit they've got this year's leading T20 run scorer to come next, but we'll gloss over that. But that wicket needed.
Yeah, it's much needed, isn't it? It's getting to that stage where, you know, the game is finally in the balance.
Rees pulling. Has he found the gap? No, not quite. Some good fielding on the rope. Was that Dan Mosley down there doing the fielding? Come back for 2. 74 without loss.
He's been around the block though, hasn't he, Mo? So he'll have captained Worcester in a lot of situations like this where they need a wicket, and obviously captained him to a title a few years back, so he knows what he's doing. I'm sure he's got a couple of master plans up his sleeve, and just before he leaves us at the end of the week, if we can get a couple of wins here, it'd be massive for us.
Miles into Rees, struck on the pad. There was an appeal mainly from Alex Davis behind the stumps. There wasn't much from Craig Miles, and they come through for a leg by. 75 without loss. Yes, Mo, before he replaces the yellow and blue of the Bears for the white of England, receiving that call coming out of retirement. Shame for the Bears, because he misses a couple of T20 matches, including the Derby, including the Pears and the Bears down at Worcester, which would have been, well, is big obviously for the Bears, but big for him as well going back. But he'll have other things on his mind. 75 without loss. Miles is in, driving Hadir Ali, and it's stopped of sorts by Rob Yates doing the fielding, and they come through for 1 more to take the score to 76. 6 off the over so far, with 1 ball to come, and you'd say that that's, from a Bears perspective, just quelling the momentum that Derbyshire had, and this has been a decent first over up for Miles. Can he complete it? Rees flicking this into the onside, and that'll be 4. Well, maybe shouldn't have said anything. Nice shot though from Rees. He's very strong off his pads, bisects the field. 80 without loss now, 8 overs completed, and that wicket remains elusive for the Bears, who really could do with a breakthrough. 124 required for Derbyshire, and they have 72 balls in which to do it. 80 without loss at the moment. The Falcons looking good, but nothing a wicket would change.
Massive. It's getting to that, yeah. Next couple of overs are really big for both teams, really. I think a couple of good overs here for Derby could really put a good dent in this run chase. As for the Bears, you know, a couple of wickets here, it's back up to 11 and over, so I'm sure Briggs is the man here.
And that'll be 1 to deep point. No, it'll be 2, as Haider Ali takes evasive action to get out of the way of that one.
Tell you one man who won't be flustered by this situation is Danny Briggs. He's one of the most cool, calm and respected figures on the county circuit. You know, he's been fantastic for me in red ball cricket. Just comes up with some really cool game plans, very level-headed, and he'll be fantastic in these situations. Obviously chatting here with Maxwell, vast amount of experience between those two, so both played all around the world and will know exactly what they're doing in these situations.
Certainly will. Oh, had there been a first slip there, not that there would be at this point of a T20, that would have been straight down his throat. As it is, it's off the edge for 4 more, and it's those moments that the Bears could really do with going their way. 86 for no wicket now, Derbyshire, and they're creeping towards that 200 plus target. The nature of it being 200 plus, though, is that scoreboard pressure is always there.
It is. It's still over 10 and over, isn't it? They've had an absolutely belting start, but it's still over 10 and over, and because of the way Haney played at the end, it just means that pressure is always there, and Derby have got to keep coming. So they've got to hit boundaries and got to take some risks as well, and that brings us right back into the game.
Full from Briggs, punch through mid-wicket. Another one to the total. And it feels the crowd need a lift as well, don't they? It seems a bit hushed, but 1 wicket changes all of that. Rees can carry on his merry way and nudge this in to the onside, down to long on. Glenn Maxwell comes in and fields. And this is the freedom, I suppose, and the luxury that you get with a good start, is that you even though the run rate is still high, you can maybe just be a little bit more circumspect without the need of chasing big runs. .88 without loss, another dot, and the Bears could do with a few of those. Could do with a few wickets, pertinently.
Bowled.
Oh, that borderline, yeah. As we know, no margin for error, and even if you're on the line, that doesn't seem to count for much with umpires. That was tight. Turned into the leg side for a single, and that'll be the culmination of the 9th over, with Falcons now 90 without loss, so they're 114 shy of their target, and 66 balls still to go. So as far as the Bears are concerned, they'll be very much aware that there is still, as you say, Will, plenty of work for the Falcons to do. 114 from 66, clearly not insurmountable, but it's still a possibility for the Bears, and a real possibility if they can just make some inroads.
Still, yeah. Look, it's right in the balance, isn't it? This is why T20's a fascinating format of the game, isn't it? 90 for none 10 years ago. You know, you're chasing it. You know, 1, 2, 3 down, but 114 off 11 against this attack is still some tough ask.
Skipper is in. Moeen Ali to Haider Ali. That's Chris Wokes with a very uncharacteristic piece of fielding, but I suppose it did prevent the 4, although he would have liked to have gathered that cleanly. It did come through for 191 without loss. Here's another man that's seen it all before and won't be panicking just yet. The bright-booted Moeen Ali. Rees with a comfortable enough single in the end. Alex Davies doing his best to reverse underarm run out. Not to be. 92 without loss. Orange booted Moeen Ali to the green booted Haider Ali. Helps himself to one around the corner. 93 without loss. important you feel that the Bears, regardless of the last 10 overs here, keep those performance levels high. It's very easy in T20 cricket, isn't it, to get on a losing, just as it is getting on a winning run. It can be easy to get on a losing run, and you don't want to get on too many of those in this competition.
No, not at this stage, especially after the start that we've had, 4 from 4. To lose 3 here would be really disappointing, but like I said before, Derby are a good team that can surprise a lot of people, and they've started the competition obviously poorly with a couple of losses, but then bounced back with a couple of wins. So I think that's the beauty of this group. Anyone's beating everyone at the minute.
Yeah. Now then, that's worth a shout. Hadir Ali a little bit uncomfortable as he tried to sweep that. Moeen Ali and Alex Davis both liked it.
It's been a good over, hasn't it, this from Mo?
Has been. Yeah, has been. Neil Mallender less enthused. But this is it. Build the pressure slowly. If you can't take wickets, at least build the pressure with conceding as few runs as you can. And that's exactly what Danny Briggs and Moeen Ali have done with those 2 overs. And it brings up the end of the 10th. So halfway through, 95 without loss. Falcons more or less are on target, chasing 204 for victory. But there is still an awful lot of cricket to play. Yeah, Derbyshire, funny old team, aren't they? They have the potential, and they've shown that potential. They reached finals day for the very first time back in 2019. Lost to Essex here, reached the quarterfinals last year, and then got absolutely hammered by Somerset down at Taunton. It was a similar. I know we don't mention it, but it was similar to the Hampshire game here in the quarterfinals. It was that sort of score, which can happen in T20, we know, but they do have the potential. Briggs to continue from the pavilion end.
Bowled.
Moeen Ali prevents any run. Good piece of bowling, good piece of fielding.
Just put the squeeze on here. Last 7 balls, haven't we? 5 runs in the last 7 balls. Could be a couple of action balls coming here.
Oh, now then, can Davis take the bails off? What has happened there? Now, Hadir Ali went, and then he went back, and then he went back, and then he went out his crease, and he's been given out by the square leg umpire in the most bizarre of ways. It looked like the stumping was there for Alex Davis. I don't think he took the bails off initially, and then Hadir Ali went back into his crease, but then inexplicably wandered out of his crease, or back into his crease, then wandered out of his crease, and Alex Davis said, "Thank you very much, I'll take the bails off." And that's the end of Hadir Ali.
Could be a dubious one, that. I think that'll be going to the 3rd umpire on TV, but sometimes that's the beauty of just having a stream, isn't it? I'm not sure what's quite happened there, but action ball. He was always coming in. Look, the rate's now up to 11.3. New man coming in. Wayne Madsen and Deploy, the 2 big ones to come in.
He's in, and then he goes. And why does he go? Well,
that's out, isn't it? He's not taken the bails. He's wandered out his crease.
That is strange, because he did the right thing initially by getting his back grounded, and then for some reasons, I think maybe he thought the ball had gone and Alex Davis didn't have it in his hands.
He must have thought he missed it and it's gone for a couple of byes, but that's a bizarre bit of cricket. It'll be all over socials later, and I'm sure people have the thoughts on it, but big wicket for us, that.
Yeah, that is a big wicket for the Bears, no question. But it does bring the imperious Wayne Madsen to the crowd. I think Lewis Rees just asking Danny Briggs and the umpire what actually happened there. Anyway, Aaron, I'm sure, can tell us in a moment the glorious stats of Wayne Madsen. He's facing Danny Briggs. His first play is to go aerially over extra cover for 2. They might turn for 3. Well, they will turn for 3, because that's not the best piece of fielding we'll ever see from a Bears duo. So 3 for Wayne Madsen to kick off, 98 for 1. As much as we eulogise about Sam Hain, Aaron, Wayne Madsen tops that this season. He's been incredible.
He's one of the greatest cricketers I think I've ever seen, to be completely honest. And you look at him this season, 392 runs, averaging 98, striking 156.17, and we eulogise about Sam Hain, and we talk about his imperious nature in the game of cricket, but the records speak for themselves with Wayne Madsen, the 3rd player in Derbyshire's history to score 20,000 runs for the club. He's the 9th all-time leading tournament run scorer in the Vitality T20 Blast, Derbyshire's highest ever. And we look at the scores so far in the Blast: 50, 61, 57, 109 not out, 71 not out, and 44. What a man.
Oh, now Rees with a huge 6. Goodness me, he's got all of that. Used his feet and then used that brilliant power that he possesses to dispatch Danny Briggs over cow corner. And that's a disappointing way for Briggs to end the 11th over. 104 for 1. And this is the issue, I suppose, in this format. Will, it doesn't matter who you play against because all teams are capable. You take a wicket of one danger man, another one comes to the crease, and of course Lewis Rees is still in, and he's very much in, 48 now. Yeah,
obviously the problem now is left hand, right hand. There's always someone bowling to the short edge. Mo bowled a beautiful last over there. Shame Briggs, he couldn't close that out just in that over, but yeah, still some good pressure on. Madsen's almost got to go from ball one here. Expect a lot of sweeps and reverses, I think. Yeah, well, he showed that, didn't he? Madsen, first ball, going big, got 3. There'll be 1 here. Rees sending Madsen back. 39 years of age, Wayne Madsen. He's been a brilliant servant for Derbyshire, and falling for 44 against Yorkshire on Sunday. He was 6 away from breaking a world record of consecutive half-centuries in T20 cricket. It would have been quite the feat. No run there as Rees dabs into the offside. Fielding done by Chris Wokes at backward point. 105 for 1. If Moeen Ali can continue just to keep the runs down. It was a good first over he bowled. He's gone for 6 so far from his 8 balls. Sweeping is Rees. Can he beat the man? He can. The dive from Chris Benjamin. And he also beats the covering fielder as well. And it's 4 more for Derbyshire Falcons. Thought for a moment Benjamin was getting that, but just evaded him, and Rees brings up his half-century from 33 balls, and he's played a very good hand for Derbyshire. He's played really well, stuck to his options well, he's cut and clipped really well, obviously swept there as well. He's a dangerous player, and probably need to get him out in the next couple of overs, I think. 109 for 1, 52 from 34. Lewis Rees, including a couple of big 6s, 6 4s. Oh, has that gone through him? Hit the pad, and there was an appeal. Umpire not interested. That'll be a leg by. Thought for a moment we were adding another one to the bowled collection there. Not to be. 110 for 1. Good ball. Good ball, yeah. Let's see that on replay. Obviously, Devo loves it from behind the stumps. Looks close. This is a game for the neutral, though, isn't it? This is why a lot of people come to Edgbaston. Always high score, generally always high scoring. Yeah. Nice evening, 2 good teams on show. Should be a great finish. Sweeping is Madsen, something he does well, but there is Craig Miles at deep backward square to do the fielding, and it's the end of the 12th over, and rather worryingly for Derbyshire, it's 111 for 1. So the superstitious amongst you might be hoping that Nelson can help the Bears out here. What is it? Feet off the ground, isn't it? Isn't that what used to happen? It's got to be feet firmly on the ground now, hasn't it? We need another wicket, don't we? Yeah. Aaron's too young for now. We were talking about the 2005 Ashes here, and he asked me what I was doing, and I said, I would have been 18 at the time, and I was doing something, and Aaron said, I was 4 at the time. Fan of the match. Very much enjoying herself on what has been a very, very pleasant evening. The Selco fan of the match, Hannah, 10 years of age. Hannah, I hope you're having a lovely evening, and we hope the Bears can turn this into a promising and indeed a profitable evening by winning the game. Madsen driving, and there'll be 1 to the total, so they're off Nelson, 112 for 1. Tell you what, if Mouse gets a wicket in this over, I expect a big celebration towards the Hollies, I reckon. That'd be lovely. This is what we want to see. He did a great job with the bat. He loves these moments. This is the sort of pressurised moments that Dan loves. I'm sure we'll see it in the 100 later on in the summer, but for the Bears in the blast, he loves these occasions. Rees sweeping for 4. Line just a little bit errant again, and Lewis Rees has very much got his eye in now. Doesn't need any second invitation to sweep around the corner. 56 from 35 and 116 for 1. Making it very difficult, the Falcons batters, for the Bears to find a rhythm and get into that metronomic rhythm, because they're moving about. There's another move and there's another splay, which will just pick up 1.
and 117 for 1. 204 the target, so 87 still to hit, and that still takes some doing, and that's still very much in the game of the Bears, although with shots like that they might soon be out of it. That's another fine hit, and it's Wayne Madsen helping himself now. And these are difficult moments for the Bears, who got the wicket of Hadi Rally, but now could really do with bringing 2 and 3 and 4 with them, because at 123 for 1, the dangerous Wayne Madsen at the crease, he hits his first 6.
It's a shot of a man in form, that, isn't it? Over extra cover to the long side. A little bit of rethinking here from Mo and Dan, but he's a fine player.
Yep, and he's in fine form. He's in the form of his life, Wayne Madsen, and he's got the perfect foundation, hasn't he, to go on and win this game for Derbyshire. That's better. That is better. Mousley firing that one in. Well taken behind the stumps, Davis. Madsen in his crease though, so no chance of the stumping. I presume that has gone down as a stumping, or is it a run out? Technically that's a run out, isn't it? The Hadi Rally dismissal.
Oh, balls.
Good piece of bowling and a good piece of fielding. Has gone down as a stumping, Alex Davis.
2 big overs these next one. 14th and 15th over. 2 big ones.
There she is, Selco fan of the match, Hannah, who is age 10, giving us a big wave, big smile. Hopefully a smiling at the end of it, Hannah. I'll give you a better mention than I did first time around when I was just discussing Aaron's age, which was of interest to no one really. 123 for 1. 7 overs. 81 required for the Falcons. 42 balls in which to get them. Moen is in and is bowling Lewis Rees, and that will help. Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Moen with a big wicket. Rees goes 123 for 2, and that could be a very crucial wicket for the Bears.
Great bit of bowling from Mo. 2 great overs so far. Just look how cool he was after he took that wicket. He's been in this situation numerous times for Worcester and England as well, and now with us. So I'm sure in the huddle he'll be displaying some messages of, I guess, encouragement. But yeah, unbelievable, great wicket. Brings in a couple of danger men though, but rate's going up.
Yeah, and it's going to be the wickets you feel that will win this game for the Bears, especially at this point of the match. Big sweep attempt, the big slog sweep from Lewis Rees, who had been in very good touch, but he has to go, and that's a big wicket for the Bears and a big wicket for Moeen. And Leas Deploy, the skipper, who is another very, very good player for Derbyshire, the skipper, who Aaron can tell us in a moment hasn't been in terrific nick as Leas. Started the tournament well, but a few lowish scores. It's facing Moeen now, driving is Deploy. Moeen does the fielding. Good start, wasn't it? I think 33 Leas got in the first match. That would have been here in the blast-off, but then has struggled since.
Yeah, tapered off slightly, but with that being said, he's got an excellent record against the Bears. 6 matches, 190 runs, and you look at that strike rate, 150.79. Exactly what the Falcons require in this particular scenario.
He's away with a push through the covers. I feel like every batter, you've said the same. They've got a good record against the Bears. Is this a Bears bogey team, Derbyshire?
It is indeed, Chris. I think that's a great point. If you look at the overall head-to-head, the Bears have won 8, the Falcons have won 7. Here at Edgbaston, the Bears, as of tonight, are 4-3 ahead. But Derbyshire have won the last 2 games between these 2 sides.
Oh, I thought that might have just clipped the leg bail, you know. Madsen going for the sweep. Did he get anything on it? Must have just come off the glove. Or some part of the bat. Anyway, 1 to the total, 125 for 2. Do you get teams like that? You play so few teams in terms of there's only 17 other counties you can play. Moen is in and driving. Do you get? It doesn't feel there to be enough teams for you to have a bogey team.
It's weird. I think as players you always have. It's more ground. You prefer going to ground. You have better records at grounds. I'm sure Aaron's got some stats on some players who have remarkable records, like Haney at Trent Bridge, for an example. he'll go there and enjoy that ground.
Or the reverse, the falling over reverse from Deploy, and then he very nearly clatters into Madsen, and they will come back for 2. And that was the most haphazard period of cricket I think you'll see. The reverse something or other that didn't quite work, then he fell over. Anyway, it's 2 runs, it's 127 for 2. You've brought us a couple of wickets, Will.
Yeah.
So we'll take that. It's still very much in the balance, you'd say.
It is, yeah. It's almost gone from 10 and over to 13 and over, so I've done my job, got 2 wickets. Obviously, must have told Mo to get himself on, but it's in the balance. It's going to be a great finish and a good spectacle. Hopefully we win by 15 or 20 and it doesn't get too tight.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Set up nicely. Will, thank you. Will be with our teeth to dissect it all come the end of play. And Ryan Sidebottom will come back in. And in is Mosley, and straight down the throat of Glenn Maxwell. Thank you very much, says the big Australian. And it is a big wicket. It's the danger man who's gone. And that is exactly the man the Bears wanted to see the back of. 3rd wicket, 127 for 3. Ryan, how quickly a game can change.
Yes, it does change very quickly when the wickets are involved, and I think Will mentioned it earlier that if Dan Mousley gets a wicket, watch out for his celebration, and I don't think he disappointed there either. I think a few of the boys might have had a few words with him in terms of that, just to smarten his celebrations up a little bit, but he's done very, very well to get us the 3rd wicket here. A very important wicket as well, so that was the informed Wade Madsen, so evenly poised I would still say, but wickets are the key for the Bears.
Certainly are, and now they're beginning to get in amongst it, as they say. 127 for 3. Wade Madsen, his first real failure of the tournament, 13 from 9. He has been in brilliant form. Tom Wood now at the crease for Derbyshire. Taking guard. Aaron, what can you tell us about Tom Wood?
Shall we continue the streak tonight, gents? Yeah, good record against the Bears. Scored 63 not out against Birmingham in 2021. Also scored 39 in the game between these two.
Struck on the pad, first ball. Now, because Mousey's going around the wicket to the right-hander, you very rarely get those unless you're plumb in line. Fancy that was a little bit leg side.
Extremely tough to get an LBW from around the wicket as a right armer, isn't it?
It is. Wood is away, driving down the ground. Maxwell does the fielding. Sorry, Aaron, continue. Or did you reach the end? I couldn't remember.
Almost, basically, yeah. Tom Wood scored 39 against the Bears in the first encounter between these two sides in 2023. But he's got a very interesting cricket story. He started off his club cricket journey at Stainsby Hall Cricket Club, now plays for Ticknall in Derbyshire. And it's great to see him out there, to be honest. Again, a real consistent performer for Derbyshire in second 11 crickets.
Yep.
Good to see him out there.
Oh. Was he slipping there? Is he
a bit of a false start, wasn't it?
Yeah. No harm done. Oh, now then, that is... I thought for a moment, straight down the throat of short, fine leg. And I'd like to describe that shot, but I don't think I can. The reverse falling paddle scoop.
The paddle scoop that I think might have been a bit more Q-end than Lewis would have liked.
Firm drive down the ground. Miles does the fielding. Of course, the luxury of taking those 2 quick wickets and the 2 batters that are in is now there are 2 fresh batters at the crease. Lears Deploy faced 5 balls. Tom Wood only 3, 4 and 2 scored respectively. Not only do you dent the confidence of the batting team by taking the wickets, but you bring 2 new players that have to reset, that have to get used to the pace of the pitch. And as we know with T20 cricket, you have very little time to do all of that.
Yes, and then the pressure of the run rate starts to kick in if they take too much time. So
banged in by Mosley, which was read by Deploy, who'd given himself room, and pulls out to the square leg boundary. And Ed Barnard on the field. I'm not sure who he's on for, but I think that was Ed Barnard doing the fielding down there. Seems to be a Bear off the field momentarily.
I don't think I've seen Sam Hain out there. Unsure what's going on there, but I think that he might be the one that he's replacing.
131 for 3, and there are 5 overs to go. 73 the Falcons still require, and 30 balls in which to get them. So
required rate up to 14.5 now. So, you know, the Bears would be quite happy with that.
Bears have wrestled back control and deploying what are going to have to go big here. Deploy down the ground. Didn't quite get all of that, so it'll be the 2. Good piece of fielding on the deep. And had that hit, then it may well have been a question asked, but I think he was okay. But Falcons need more than that.
Moeen's shown his class here with his 3 overs so far, hasn't he? He's just showed his very cool, calm and collected experience has shown, hasn't it?
Yeah, 1 for 17. Deploy shovels that into the leg side just for 1, and the Bears will not mind this. Falcons need to deal in the boundaries that were coming very quickly at the start of their innings with real regularity. The start given to them by Lewis Rees and Hadir Ali. 95 they put on together, Rees and Ali, but it's been hard going since, and that's credit to the way the Bears have gone about their business. Wood sweeping, deep backward square. Craig Miles with his bullet arm. 136 for 3, and we do talk about, especially in this format, how quickly the game changes, but the Bears now have gone from a position of being not worried, but certainly needing wickets, to now being in control of the game.
Yeah, definitely. It just goes to show how quickly a game of T20 can change. As Lewis Deploy gives himself a bit of room and drives one over the covers for 4. But yeah, definitely it just goes to show how the game changes, and it goes in waves, doesn't it? Like Warwickshire were, yeah, fair to say, a little bit under the pump at one stage, needing a couple of wickets, and the 3 wickets they've got has just stemmed the rate just nicely, and Moeen's shown his class.
139 for 3. Lewis Deploy, though, still a very capable customer. As shown there, dispatched into the Hollies. Huge 6. And it's not done just yet, this, because Lewis Deploy is very, very capable, and that was a fine hit. $145 for 3, 59 required now. Final ball of the 16th over. More runs. Deploy with a neat cut shot, and it'll just be the 1. So 146 for 3 the score, and we're through 16 overs. $146 for 3, 58 required, but only 24 balls for Derbyshire, in which to try and get to their target of 204. Chris Woakes back into the attack. Very useful man to have in this situation. 0 for 15, his 2 overs. And we're entering the goes without saying, Ryan, with only 4 overs to play, but these next 2 overs, Derbyshire need a big over, and if they get that big over, then they become favourites, and it's up to the Bears to make sure that big over doesn't come.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think they've turned to the right man in Chris Woakes. Experience been in this situation many of times, whether it be for Birmingham Bears, Warwickshire or England, so the game's hanging in the balance at the minute.
Dangerous Deploy, though, still on strike. Off strike now with that single. Deep square, 147 for 3. Yeah, it still does feel in the balance, as Will was saying earlier. Kind of game as a neutral that you watch with great interest, given that we know how this game operates, and it doesn't take much for it to swing back in the Falcons' favour on what has been another very pleasant evening for cricket. Sun in now, dare say it's probably a little bit cool in the stands. Floodlights beginning to take full effect. Tom Wood looks around. There's a few adjustments in the field. It's still fairly conventional at this point of proceedings, with 2 deep fielders on the point and square leg boundaries. Chris Woakes just wanting deep backward square to be a little squarer, and he aborts the run-up for whatever reason. Never really looked set there, Chris Woakes, throughout that passage, moving the field and having a word with Moeen.
I think it was Lewis Deploy. He just dropped his bat as Chris was ready to gather. Might have just put him off, so I think he's done the right thing there by aborting.
Full under edge, which will come short fine legs way. Chris Benjamin, just the single. And that'll be the currency that the Bears want to operate in. Wickets ideally, but if you can't take the wickets, prevent the boundaries. It's boundaries that the Falcons need, given the situation that they find themselves in. Still 56 required, and they are running out of overs, and they're running out of balls. That helps. Flat batted down the ground all the way for 6. He possesses great power, does Lewis Deploy, and he's shown it again there. It's not the prettiest shot you'll ever see, but it was certainly effective.
Yes, it was very effective, wasn't it? Just shuffled down, gave himself a bit of room to free his arms, and yeah, it was a lovely swing of the bat.
Baseball shot, wasn't it? Brings up the Derbyshire 150, 154 for 3, Deploy 26. Here's the Woakes response. Full, flicked deep mid-wickets way. Craig Miles with the fielding, 2 more to the total. And it's, well, it's shots like that that just keep you on the edge, don't they? It's shots like that that remind you that it really does not take much. 2 big swings of the bat can really change the momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. It sure does. It's on the edge at the minute, and a couple of wickets would definitely swing at what the Warwickshire, or the Birmingham Bears way, I should say.
48 required, the Falcons required total, now dips below 50. Driving is Deploy, and driving for 4. There is no one there on the deep point boundary, and the pace of Chris Woakes exploited. Good piece of timing from Deploy, and the captain is playing a very good innings here for the Falcons. Chris Woakes a little bit wide. The length was fine, you'd say, for the Yorker, but a little bit errant on line, and this is turning into a useful over for the Falcons. 160 for 3 now. 44 required. 19 balls. Woakes in. Deploy will want 2, and they will turn for 2, and the throw was just a little bit wide from Dan Mosley, and he turns in frustration. Had that been over the stumps and into Davis's hands, a run-out opportunity, but as it is, 2 taken. We're through 17, 3 overs remaining, 162 for 3, 204 required, so 42 needed, 18 balls. You'd still rather be in the Bears' shoes at this point?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, the Bears, I would say, are marginally ahead. Ideally, could do with another couple of tight overs to put the game to bed early, but yeah, Derby aren't out of it for any stretch either. So interesting finish coming up, I would say.
Craig Miles into the attack at the Birmingham end. 1 over, he's bowled. It went for 10. Wood on strike. Bowled him! That is just what the doctor ordered for the Bears. Craig Miles strikes straight through Tom Wood, who went for the big shot. The bails in the air for the umpteenth time tonight. A batsman loses his bails, and it's 4 down now, the Falcons, 162 for 4.
Yeah, beautifully bowled there by Craig. Kept the stumps into play. Didn't allow the batter any room to move, and snuck one through there to rattle the stumps. So well bowled.
Yeah, was well bowled. Back into the attack to provide exactly that, to get rid of Tom Wood. I don't think he was expecting it, Tom Wood, to keep as low as it did. It just
maybe a change of pace.
Yeah, possibly. Regardless, leg stump knocked back, and it's a good wicket for the Bears. It brings wicketkeeper Brooke Guest to the crease. Let me guess, Aaron, another one with a good record against the Bears.
You will never guess it, Chris. Career best of 54 against the Bears.
Of course. Well, he's in a difficult position here. Needs to swing from the off, really. 162 for 4, and he does swing from the off. A little feather on that, little under edge, possibly. It's a useful dot for the Bears, with 42 still required, and the Falcons running out of balls now. They'll push for 2 here, I'm sure, and it's the sort of run they need to take, and they do come back for 2. Throw comes in from Wokes, stumps out the ground, but Brooke Guest comfortably back. 2 to the total, 164 for 4, and now 40 runs required. 15 balls. Just need to keep this tight, the Bears, and they will.
Dots and ones,
a good win.
Dots and ones would be great.
Yeah.
Limit the boundaries as much as possible with the odd wicket would be very, very handy.
Guest pulling, not with any great timing. He'll just pick up the 1, and it brings Leas Deploy on strike, which is what the Falcons will need if they are to get to 204. They'll need Leas Deploy to face the majority of the final 14 deliveries, and for the Bears it'll be about keeping him off strike. Moeen Ali just tinkering a little bit with his field, with the left-handed Deploy back on strike. .39 from 14 required. We have seen games won from this position many a time, but you'd still fancy the Bears. If we had the old win-viz win predictor, I'd suspect it'll be 75%, 80, maybe higher towards the Bears. Miles is in, deploys, driving, and he may well get 4 here. There's a big old chase, and it beats the dive, and that will be 4. Dan Mosley's effort was good, but it was in vain, and it's 4 more to the total, and this game just continues to tease. 169 for 4. Deploy doing what Deploy does.
Yeah, putting the pressure back on Craig there, and unfortunately didn't quite nail it. Gave him a little bit of width, and Lewis was good enough to punch it through the covers. But yeah, just keeps themselves within touching distance, doesn't it?
It does. Final ball of the 18th over. Down the wicket comes Deploy, and it was the same shot as last time, but this time found Chris Wokes in the way. Good piece of fielding. It's a single to end the 18th over, and it's 170 for 4. And a sweet Caroline blast out. It won't be blasted out with as much enthusiasm as it might be, because I sense the crowd still think that there's a game to be won and challenged for here, with 34 required off the last 2 overs. But there are still plenty of patrons in enjoying. 2 overs, 34 required. From a Falcons perspective, if they can get that below 20, they'll be happy and think they've got a chance. And for the Bears, they know if they can keep this tight, the perfect man to bowl this over, they'll be happy.
You're spot on, the perfect man, Chris Wokes. Very experienced. He knows what he's doing, and you've hit the nail on the head there. I think Derby would be looking for a big one here to get it anywhere under 20.
Wokes is in to Deploy, he's driving through the covers just for the 1. And you can hear the crowd now involved. The Bears won't mind that. Not only is it not a big score of that particular ball, it takes Deploy off strike and brings the relatively fresh Brooke Guest to the crease. Little word between Deploy and Guest. You'd imagine that would be, just get me on strike, son.
Yeah, something along those lines. If it's in your area, give it a go. But ideally, I think from a Warwickshire or Birmingham Bears point of view, to keep Lewis off strike as much as possible would be helping.
Still wicketless, Chris Wokes. A wide delivery that is slashed through the covers for 1, and Brooke Guest does bring Lewis Deploy back on strike. 172 for 4, 32 required. Falcons need to go big. It's now or never, you feel. And he has a little survey, does Deploy. Sees 2 deep fielders backward of square and on the point boundary. He goes big, and he gets big, and that is not what the Bears needed. It's another terrific shot from Lewis Deploy. Wokes, you wouldn't even say erring in line, because the 2 fielders are very much there for that delivery, but they didn't bank on Lewis Deploy getting so much of it.
No, it looked like a bit of a change of pace from Chris there, and yeah, he just got underneath it and was lucky enough to get enough on it to clear the deep backward square fielder there.
Picked it up really well. Pressure back on Chris Wokes with 26 to win. Short, pulled in the gap, 1 bounce 4. It's a costly couple of balls for Chris Wokes and the Bears. 10 off the last 2. Deploy reaches his 50 off a very quick 21 deliveries. 4 4s and 3 6s in that. He has played exactly the hand that Derbyshire needed. It's another good shot. And what does Chris Wokes do here? Still 2 balls of the penultimate over to go, and 22 required now off 8. What are you bowling here?
Good question. I'm glad I'm not out there, to be honest. He's under a bit of pressure here, Chris. He's gone for a couple of boundaries and tinkering his field a little bit, no doubt. He and Moeen would have had a good chat. Chris should be clear in his plan here, but personally, I think I'd be going I'd be trying a Yorker with the bigger leg side boundary. Trying not to give any width away here.
We shall see. Deploy is driving aerially. He hasn't got all of that. He won't go for 4. Moeen Ali will prevent that, and they come through for 2. 184 for 4. 20 now needed off 7. Well, whichever way you spin it, the Falcons will feel they have a chance now that total is, well, will be no worse as far as they're concerned than 20. Can Chris Wokes get out of his 4 overs, ideally with a wicket? Still wicketless. Be a great time to take one. Deploy deposits him for 6, and that is the last thing the Bears needed. And Chris Wokes ends without a wicket, but ends his spell, seeing his final delivery disappear over the ropes. And the Falcons now are very much in with a chance. 190 for 4, 14 required off the final over. If you're a neutral, you're loving this, but if you're from a Bears persuasion, well, you're wondering how it got to this point when it looked so good a couple of overs ago. But still, 14 runs to get. Now is not the time to be rueful.
No, definitely not panic stations at the moment, but knowing Chris, he'd be extremely disappointed with that last ball. Just missed his lengths a little bit too short of the Yorker, and Lewis was able to scoop it and get it over the rope. But
so here we go, 14 needed, final over, Miles to Guest, and that is massive. That's probably the biggest of the night, and it's greeted by stunned Edgbaston silence. That is the last way that Miles wanted to start the final over, and it's now 8 required off 5. Wow.
Wow is probably the right word to say there. Yeah, extremely disappointing from Craig there to bang it in, and I think it was just the line that allowed Brooke Guest to be able to free his hands and have a free swing at the bat at that. if you angle that in a little bit tighter to the body, he probably can't free his arms as much and get as much leverage. But yeah, unfortunately he's missed the line there.
196 for 4, 8 required for Derbyshire off 5. Bears would love a wicket now. Guest goes big again, attempted big run out opportunity, not taken, and they scamper through for 1 to move the equation to 7 off 4. Love a couple of dots now if they can't get the wicket, but it's Lewis Deploy on strike, who has been striking incredibly well.
He has, hasn't he? But you're exactly right here. A couple of dot balls wouldn't go astray for sure for the Bears boys here.
Well, these are the moments in T20 cricket that we mostly enjoy if if it's not your team involved. T20, when it's tight and it's like this and you're talking single figures to win with single figure balls remaining, it's always intriguing and exciting. 7 off 4 for Derbyshire. Down the track comes Deploy, doesn't get all of that. They'll push for 2 and they may well get 2. The throw to the striker's end, it was a really good piece of fielding. I'm not sure the Bears are going to get that. Deploy gets back into his crease despite some excellent work on the boundary rope. 199 for 4, and it's now 5 off 3. Falcons within a hit, and they have been hitting well. This would be a really good game for the Bears to win from here. A game that they were very much in with the total they set of 203. They seemed out of it at the halfway point with Derbyshire going well at 95 without loss, then very much in it with the fall of wickets, 127 for 3, 162 for 4. But Lewis Deploy has had other ideas. 60 off 34. He's on strike now with the Falcons 5 runs away from victory. The Bears need dots or wickets, and they don't get either. That's the game, and it's a no ball to boot. It won't matter, because that is the game for Derbyshire Falcons. It's an ignominious end for Craig Miles. Dispatched over the boundary by Lewis Deploy. Derbyshire get the win, and for the Bears it'll be a story of one that got away, having been in such a good position at 162 for 4, the Falcons. But Lewis Deploy plays a match-winning innings of 66 off not very many, and the Bears will rue a couple of those missed opportunities and a couple of big overs. It's the 3rd defeat in the row now for the Bears. It's not terminal just yet. The beauty of this competition is that you can lose a clatter of games and still qualify for the quarterfinals. But Ryan, there will be an element, well, there'll be a big element of frustration and disappointment that the Bears weren't able to defend 200 plus.
Yes, absolutely. I think you nailed it there. It's the one that got away. I think you know, when you score 200 batting first, you back yourselves in to win most games, and they'll be extremely disappointed to have let that one slip. That's for sure. You know, to lose 3 in a row now after such a good start of winning the first 4 is a little bit disappointing as well. But as you said, these games come thick and fast, and the sooner you can turn that form around, the better.
Yep, and still plenty of opportunities for the Bears to do that, but tonight ends in disappointment for Birmingham Bears. 203 for 7 they made, winning the toss, batting first. Sam Hain continuing his excellent form, 79 he made off 36, backed up by decent cameos. Alex Davis and Dan Mosley both hitting 26 at 23 from Chris Wokes. Matty McKeon in the pick of Derbyshire's bowlers, 3 for 39. He got some big wickets as well, including Alex Davis, Moeen Ali and Glenn Maxwell. Derbyshire started really well. Lewis Rees and Hadir Ali putting on 95 for the first wicket, 57 and 48 respectively, and then the Bears very much in the game, dismissing both of them. Madsen falling for 13, the danger man, Tom Wood falling for 4, but then Lewis Deploy guiding his team to victory. 25 balls for his 66, including 4 fours and 5 sixes. Brooke Guest ending 11 not out, and it was a very timely 6 that he hit off the very first ball of the final over. And that is the tale of the tape, a 6-wicket win for Derbyshire Falcons. Ryan, thank you for your company as always. Aaron, likewise, and we hope for better next time. But the Birmingham Bears fall to defeat here at Edgbaston. Derbyshire Falcons winning by 6 wickets.
Well, you have to respect that chase by the Derbyshire Falcons. Exceptional, really, to get there with 3 balls in hand. 203 was a big total from the Birmingham Bears, but Derbyshire just went one better. Remarkable knocker at the end of that innings from Loose Deploy, who remained not out on 66. I mean, what can you say? They just batted brilliantly.
They have, start to finish. That opening partnership really set them up, and then Deploy at the end there, that's a real captain's innings. Boys will be disappointed down there. It almost looked like we were swinging momentum there with 4 overs to go, but sometimes you've got to take your hat off and bow down to a great innings, and that's a fine knock we've just seen there, and an overall a really good chase. Yeah, it was a very good performance. So they kind of held their nerve with that opening partnership, although I thought the Bears bowled quite well. It's difficult with some of the smaller boundaries we talked about today as well. That's a 3rd consecutive loss for the Bears. You talked about it earlier. 4 and 4 is great. 4 and 6 is not as good. 4 and 7 even less so. Still in reasonably good shape, of course, but it's got to hurt, this one. It will do, yeah, because I think, these, like I said before, these 2 games are really big, and you can take some momentum going into that 4-day break. 4 and 7, after the start that we've had, the boys will be really disappointed down there, but, there's not too much time to dwell on it. In 2 nights' time, we've got another massive game Friday night here at Edgbaston, so, look, there'll be a little bit of team talk down there. There'll be some areas that the boys can improve, I'm sure. But, there's not too much time to dwell on it. And, games in this tournament come thick and fast. And on Friday, we're going to have to look to get out of this losing streak. It's the 2nd game in a row where they've scored in excess of 200 and not won the game. That's got to start stinging. And we talked about it briefly just before they went out there, right? The idea of scoring 200 and not closing out the game, or being able to concede 200 and thinking, wow, we can concede 200. It starts to play with you a little bit. Yeah, it will do, and I'm sure the bowling group over the next 48 hours will chat with Stuart Barnes, the bowling coach, Robbo and Mo, how they can improve. There's always areas that you can improve in T20. Yes, it's been an unbelievable pitch by Gary. It's been a flat deck, small boundaries, but you can always improve where you're going to bowl. There's always good options to certain players, and obviously George, the analyst, will come up with some good areas and notice where guys can improve. Yeah, we're going to be joined very shortly by our Talbot's player of the match for the Warwickshire team as well. But I mean, it will be it's a tough one to take, but at the same time, there's loads of positives for the Bears, particularly with the bat, wouldn't you say? 100%. 200 for another game. I think that's a big area that the guys wanted to improve on. I think it was 7 times last year. I think it's 3 or 4 times this year. It's just about closing these games out now. It's all well and good getting these 200 scores, but if you can't close them out and get those 2 points, then the guys will be disappointed with that. But like I said, there's 48 hours now for the guys to have some chats down there, come up with some new plans. Northants come with a different challenge, more hitters rather than touch players like we saw with Derby. So it'll be interesting to see if we are on the same pitch on Friday, how the boys can react to this. Yeah, absolutely, and we're going to be joined right now. In fact, we can welcome him in, a player who can't stop scoring runs at the moment. How are you doing? Welcome. Right? Yeah, good, my man. Very good commiserations for today. How are you? Great game. Sam Hain can't stop scoring runs. We'll talk about what's going right for you in a minute, but obviously it must be disappointing just to come off and not be able to close out the game with a 204 total.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's fresh, so, I just walked through the dressing room there, and obviously lads are hurting just because, it's a game that I thought we potentially had. But, again, to get 200 after 10 overs, not many would have thought that. So, again, I think it's just one that potentially slipped away. But by no means do I think we're playing bad cricket. I think we're playing really good cricket. I said after, the last game that, lads are full of confidence. And they still are. But it's just, we're getting tested, and that's fine, because if we want to win this thing, we're going to be tested. So rather do it now, learn from it, put it right for the next game.
Absolutely. And listen, congratulations to the Derbyshire Falcons. Well done. We're very happy for you. But we want to talk about the fun stuff for the Birmingham Bears.
We don't.
You're having an incredible run at the moment with the bat. Like, have you changed anything up in your fitness, in your training? Is there something that's actively changed, or is it just accumulation?
That's a good question. No, I think it's accumulation of things. Obviously, I've had to look at my own game and see where I can improve. I'm always looking to improve, and it's nice having Mo and Maxi here. I can tap into their knowledge, and yeah, I think it's a lot of it's a lot of stuff. Looking at myself in the mirror, going, where can I actually get better? But it's hard to pinpoint. I've played a little bit of T20 cricket now. I think I've got a fair idea of how I want to play, and I guess I'm just trying to replicate that out in the middle. But it's nice at the minute, but someone will put their hand up next week. If it's me, great, but I know there's a lot of match winners in this team, which is obviously pleasing.
Yeah, I mean, you're right there. I mean, we were talking about this a little bit earlier, actually, Will and I, that there's got to be teams, and we won't jinx anything, but we're thinking about international cricket. It's got to be around the corner for you, just on the basis of the form that you've been in recently, the way you're striking the ball. I mean, we're talking about a team full of superstars. People like Moeen Ali, Glenn Maxwell. I've seen posters of Moeen Ali all over Birmingham and stuff. But you're kind of outshining everybody at the moment. It must feel really good.
Look.
Just to be successful.
Yeah, like it's one. Like I don't really look into my own performance. Obviously, I want to do well for the team, but yeah, I mean, like I've definitely had some not dark times in T20 or cricket, but I've definitely seen times where when you haven't got a run, you can quickly go a little bit internal. But T20 especially is trying to express yourself, but also trying to, I guess, pick the right option at the right time. I guess it's really only over the winter. I spent a winter at Brisbane. I think that's helped my game the world of good. I think it's done the world of good, sorry. There's a different style out there. So, yeah, I guess over the last 12 months, I've probably learned a lot about myself than the previous. I've played 100 games now, but over the last 23rd, I've really actually dialed down and figure out the areas I can improve, but also realise what I am good at and just trying to replicate that in the middle. So, yeah, it's coming off all right at the moment, but I think the issue is, not the issue, but I want to continue, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the most modest way to put it as well. It's coming off.
I don't really know what else to say, what I mean?
Like, you're doing brilliantly, mate. It's okay to be like, I'm having a good time, I'm smashing the ball to all parts, and it's going well for me. We were just what we talked about was the way you paced your innings. I'm going to let your club captain tell you in a second, actually, but we were remarking on the pacing of that innings, because it was a dicey phase, and then he got 124 in the last 10 overs batting. I mean, it was just an extraordinary rise. I mean, Will, you were talking about. I'll let you no, you go for it.
We'll
have a little Warwickshire love in for a second.
Yeah.
Go for it. I mean, you were commenting on, how impressed you were with that batting performance.
Yeah, look, I think I was saying, how is it something that you naturally take on? Is it something that you conscious of? The wickets that obviously being 4 down there. What was your game plan going into that 12th and 13th over?
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. Like it's tricky because I guess you're figuring out when to go through the gears. I said to Maxi at the halfway stage, it's amazing when you have a partnership, you build on a partnership, and you feed off the other players. So when Wokesy came in, that was really, he got a few away, and then I was actually I can go from 3rd, 4th into 5th gear. It's tough. You're looking for, I guess, an over or a matchup that you actually like. I can have a go here. I can take it. But obviously losing wickets, it wasn't ideal. But I guess for me, I just know if I can get into the last 4 or 5 overs, I'm feeling pretty good at that stage, and I can hopefully get a few away.
Is it something that the team are obviously conscious of now? We've scored 207 times last year, 3 or 4 times this year. Is that something which we are, as a club and as a squad, always looking to do here at Edgbaston, but also away from home?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think it's only really when Carlos came in that he probably changed the ethos of the side a little bit, trying to get 200. I think when I first started playing, I think it was around about 160, 170, and we looked to defend it. But you look at T20 now, most teams are getting over 200, unless obviously you're getting a wicket that's been used a few times. So it's definitely, as a batting unit, it's what we want to do. Unluckily tonight it wasn't enough, but that's okay. We'll move on to Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you mentioned Friday. That'll be a big game. I'm sure it's a Friday night as well, so we'll hopefully get a really big crowd here at Edgbaston. I'm sure, like, the focus will be on the positives. Like, you know, you score 200 9 games out of 10, you will win them, right, in a T20 game. But, like, what's the feeling like right now? Like, is there this kind of burning desire to come back strong on the Friday, put in a strong performance, a little exclamation mark, just to remind everybody how classy the side is?
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, it's one of them, like, you're just trying to stay calm. You know, you're going to lose games in this tournament. I think you're trying to peak at the right time. And, yeah, obviously we've had a couple losses now, but I don't necessarily think we have to really delve into, you know, what we're doing necessarily so badly. Obviously, there's areas we can improve. We're going to look to do that over, you know, the next day or so. But as we know, these games come quite quickly. So you just got to dust yourself down. A couple of areas we can try and improve, and then hopefully put it right Friday. So, oh mate, like the lads are flat, of course. Like, you know, 200 and unfortunately didn't get over the line. But that's the nature of T20 cricket. It's definitely what I've learned is, you know, it's a fickle game at times, and you know, you're going to lose some games along the way. But I think we're playing the brand of cricket that we want to play. It's just a couple of areas that we just need to tighten up on, and I'm sure we'll do that.
Well, individually, your performance is being lauded, by the way. So we thank you for your time. I've got to ask you this, by the way, because it's come up on Twitter that, you know, the nickname that's going around is the Hayne train.
I hate it.
Do you hate it? You're going on the record.
No.
Do you hate the Hayne train?
No.
Do you like it or not?
Oh, I mean, it's tough. It's sort of stuck, hasn't it?
It has.
It's stuck. Yeah. Even when I was walking out to bat, the announcer said it. I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh look.
Don't worry, Joe.
Yeah,
He loves you already, don't worry.
I'm joking. Yeah. Look, it's stuck. So I think I just got to embrace it now.
I think so. Because before you know it, there'll be merchandise and everything. But you know, if it is a train, long may it continue. Because you're batting beautifully, and it's been a pleasure to watch. Thank you so much for your time, Sam.
Appreciate it. Thank you
Go
very
well
much.
on Friday. Hopefully, a win for the Bears. Something for us to all celebrate. Thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
And very
Thank
well
you.
played again. That's
cool.
Sam Hayne, player of the match for the Bears today. And I again also thank Will for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you as well.
No worries, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, don't worry, mate. Get some rest. Good to see you. Will, again, pleasure, and hopefully we'll get your company again at some stage this season. But did you enjoy yourself on Bears Den TV?
I did. How good. The only thing that was missing was the result, but yeah, really enjoyed it. Obviously, it's a different environment for me. It's something that I'm, you know, looking to get involved in. But no, I was really enjoyed it.
Well,
we feel very welcome.
We've enjoyed having you, and we shall have you back at some stage. Your club captain, everybody. Sadly, the Bears couldn't get over the line. They lose today's game to Derbyshire Falcons by 6 wickets. We'll be back on Friday with another game here at Edgbaston. But until then, everybody, good night.